What if your first magical summon turned out to be a madman tying red ribbons on defeated enemies? And even worse, he's living in my room right now, wiping out monsters like it's no big deal. That's me, Bongju Hyuk, 25 years old, drowning in debt, and getting stepped on every single day. Just an average guy who already accepted his life as a loser, until the system showed up. And just like that, everything changed. I got an awakening as a summoner. The rule is clear. Powers don't work in the real world. Except my system completely glitched out, pulling off a summon right in reality. Now I got a legendary warrior who answers only to me. Zero doubt about his loyalty. My body leveled up. Then the real wipeout began, smashing records right on the first floor, with some seriously overpowered brute strength, plus an unbeatable army at my command. Don't even gotta lift a single finger. But the whole world is about to find out who the real monster dominating the Black Tower is. Walking through the alley, the MC spots two guys spitting on the ground and complaining about the splash. Soon they walk off laughing while the kid keeps moving, thinking this place is pure trash. At long last, he reaches home and steps into his tiny rooftop room, eating ramen again. This is 25-year-old Ju Hyuk juggling 3 side hustles. All this grind is just to pay off a massive debt and keep living in misery. Gulping down the food, the kid realizes he has zero talent and his future looks super bleak. And that's where it gets crazy. A blue screen pops up in his face saying he just had his awakening. Spooked by the message, he almost chokes on his noodles, tumbling backward in shock. The guy yells out wanting to know what kind of joke this is. Flat on the floor, he struggles to believe he actually became an awakened hunter. After all, getting powers is like winning the lottery and having a real shot at changing his life. But that luck only matters if you stay alive, since stepping into the tower is asking for trouble. Inside that place, anyone could end up sliced up by freaky monsters, or even freeze or turn into barbecue in some wild extreme climates, running a huge risk of getting poisoned out of nowhere too. That's without even bringing up the deadly traps scattered all over the place, always dodging trouble. The MC even fakes being on a call just to avoid eye contact. Keeping his distance from danger, he's been just a regular dude for 25 years. With his chopsticks on the table, he wonders if he really got an awakening or if he's just exhausted. Taking a deep breath to test the theory, the kid shouts for the status window. Instantly, the system pops up showing his info and the summoner class. Tapping the floating screen, the MC tries to confirm if this is actually real. Awakened folks usually become a swordsman, archer, healer, or something like that. However, summoning lets you control all sorts of spirits and phantom beasts. The ability can even bring out golems and magic monsters depending on your focus. Curious about his fighting style, he decides to test out a badass skill. Stretching out his hand super height, the kid gets ready to make the magic happen. He tries to use random summon, but gets left hanging and cringes hard, forming a giant question mark. His blank face says it all, awkwardly scratching his head. The guy remembers powers don't work in the real world. It's a clear rule, skills only work in the tower, and out here, he's just a regular civilian. Feeling like a complete clown, the MC remembers this is basic internet knowledge. But our boy stays locked in. He gets it to his head that nothing's gonna work outside the tower. Suddenly, the blue screen pops up again, kicking off that summon, leaving the kid entirely confused and having no clue what's going on anymore. Right then, a massive flash fills the tiny room and a giant magic circle spawns at the door. Stepping right out of the light, some freaky dude wearing RPG gear shows up. In pure shock, he can't figure out how that stuff worked right there. Freezing up after summoning a human, the MC watches the guy salute right in front of him. Since nothing made sense, the magic worked outside the tower and even brought a regular dude. Soon after, a weird food smell hits the protagonist right in the nose. Catching a whiff of the ramen, the summon asks for a bite and the stunned master allows it. The MC realizes he summoned a massive food thief as the guy attacks the bowl, gulping it down super fast. The dude clears the bowl, making a huge racket. Upset about the spice, the summon suffers from a flavor the MC finds mild. Glitching out, the guy notices that using a skill outside the tower is pretty unheard of. Through the panel, he sees he can pull anything from rare to legendary ranks. Looking at the colored badges, the kid realizes he just became a real-life gacha player. Then a warning pops up saying the summon has to follow 3 basic principles. Those being total protection and obedience, where the master's life matters more than any order. Watching the guy chug the broth, the MC likes the obedience idea and checks who he is. By opening the catalog, he finds out he summoned John Corsac, a super rare assassin, reading that he was a crazy executioner with nearly a 100% success rate in the guild. Out of nowhere, the kid feels a bizarre headache frying his brain from so much info. Getting blurry vision and super dizzy, he can't even grasp what's going on anymore, and no one saw that coming. The MC gets sucked into a bizarre purple light whirlpool, falling into a dark, creepy void. The kid spots Corsac way down below. The assassin leaves him stunned, flying towards the master at a wild wild speed. Completely frozen in midair, the guy panics without even being able to move. As the assassin phases right to his body, the scene shifts to a chaotic battlefield. Watching the guy wipe the floor with everyone, he notices he's seeing his summon's memories. However, everything the protagonist witnesses is just pure madness and carnage. Seeing the servant tie a red ribbon on a defeated foe, the crazy title makes perfect sense. With a pretty creepy smile, the assassin just stands there admiring his freaky work. Soon, the story jumps ahead, showing the killer went down because of a single mistake, targeting a very important guy living right in the middle of a massive mansion. Then the memory shows Korsak attacking with a super fast glowing hand strike. But that opponent was none other than the strongest swordmaster in the whole empire. That being his last memory before getting clowned by the swordsman. Snapping back from the vision, the MC almost has a heart attack with the servant's face right up in his. Terrified, he jumps back and hears the assassin apologize and offer help. Shaking with fear, the kid quickly remembers the system's absolute obedience rule. Because of that rule, Yuhok finally manages to breathe a little easier. Ordering the servant to clean up the ramen mess as a test, the guy obeys super hyped. He's left speechless by the cleaning speed without a single peep of complaint from the servant, smiling in awe to see the feared assassin become his newest errand boy. To test his luck, he drops a dumb command just to confirm the blind obedience. Speaking kind of awkwardly, he tells the big guy to let out a cute little dog whimper. Under orders to act like a hound, the servant just closes his eyes ready to follow through. Watching the assassin drop to the floor, the MC wonders if he took the joke way too far. Scared stiff of getting taken out, he's surprised seeing Korsak act like a cute little puppy. Giving a thumbs up, the kid realizes that absolute obedience is very real. But suddenly the door gets pounded on, putting both of them on high alert. Hearing yells from outside, the MC panics, realizing he forgot to pay the interest. Beyond desperate, he tells his servant to get up while the door almost caves in. Remembering he took 10 million from the loan shark when the bank wouldn't help at all. Says he used the cash to help his family. He already paid 5 million in interest, and nothing changes. Knowing full well it was a dumb move, he'd do it all over again to save his family. Right then the intruder yells, asking if he's alive, and the kid quickly calls the assassin over, suggesting to take out the collector with a creepy smile. He makes the MC freeze in fear, while locking the servant in the bathroom in dead silence. The assassin even asks for permission to breathe. A giant brute violently swings the door open and instantly grabs the kid, demanding the cash with a super fake smile. The invader hears the guy just forgot, wickedly suggesting that if money is tight, the protagonist could easily sell a kidney. A random goon suggests selling his little brother's organs since they'd be worth even more. Hearing this disgusting threat against his family, the MC gets dead serious. The loan shark notices that furious glare and mocks him, asking if the kid wants a beating. Hiding his rage with a really awkward chuckle, he says he'd never do anything like that. After threatening the guy's life and slamming the door shut, the invader finally lets him breathe. Stepping out of the bathroom all calm, Korsak listens to the praise, saying he only followed orders. Exhausted, the kid sums up his wild day and realizes the only way out is facing the tower. Sitting down completely defeated, the guy faces the reality of needing cash, but dreads the tower. Soon Korsak asks what's next, and the kid thinks about sending him back with the skill. Getting super hyped, the assassin asks to watch TV, saying it's been a long time. Clueless as to how he knows TV and ramen, the MC allows it and the servant puts on a drama. Later on, while the kid tries to sleep, the killer stays glued to the soap opera on the floor. Laying in bed, the protagonist thinks having some company isn't all that bad. Feeling a really weird comfort in his chest, the guy finally starts nodding off. Meanwhile, the assassin reflects on life, remembering he always did everything solo until now. Out of nowhere, the news reports a freaky crime about 3 dudes found completely wrecked, with a creepy detail of red ribbons left behind. The MC jumps right out of bed. Quickly remembering Korsak's past, the kid realizes the pattern is exactly the same. Horrified by the news, he yells the guy's name, who turns around smiling and gives a salute. Freaking out and pulling his hair, the guy realizes he summoned a complete psychopath. By the next morning, the broadcast shows the wrecked office in pure chaos. Focusing the camera on a loan shark's hand on the floor, you can still see the gold rings. Making things way worse, the scene mentions 3 targets decorated with red ribbons. Watching the news on his phone, the protagonist goes into shock knowing he's screwed now. Working at the convenience store, he's a nervous wreck knowing it was Korsak until someone calls him. Spinning around, he gets a terrible hallucination of the assassin holding a creepy trophy. Eyes wide open in pure panic, the kid's heart almost jumps out of his chest from the scare. Worsening the freaky vision, the store turns into a static stash of trophies and the monster complains about everything. Falling into despair, the kid lets out a scream and knocks everything over on the counter. Rushing over to help, his coworkers cease in panting and barely able to speak. Dying of embarrassment over the whole thing, he apologizes and rings up the lady super fast. Leaving work exhausted, he decides he can't keep going like this and needs some time off. Walking down the chilly street, the guy can't stop thinking about the dudes who lost their lives. Seeing happy people in the snow, the MC feels guilty thinking he caused all of this. As the dark night rolls in, the scene shows his rooftop room in dead silence. Back home, he checks the catalog and confirms Korsak is truly an unhinged assassin. Sitting on the floor, he tries to calm down by remembering he's safe, but the fear lingers. Deciding to take control, he uses designated summon to call the killer back. But instead of the guy showing up, a new system screen pops up and leaves him glitching out. Reading the prompt, he finds out he needs to rate Korsak's service before summoning in. Asking for a star rating, the MC finally gets how reviews work in the magic catalog. Pretty ticked off about that brutal crime, he immediately thinks about giving just 1 star. But right when he's about to lock in the low score, the kid gets a guilty conscience. Going soft real quick, he feels bad and ends up dropping 3 stars for the assassin. Flashing the notification on screen, the system confirms the 3-star rating for the servant John Korsak. Remembering his mom works in sales, he knows a low rating ruins a worker's record. Right then, the killer spawns again, all smiles, and gives a crisp salute to his master. Thanking him for the stars, he leaves the guy confused if this cute dude really took anyone out. Mustering up a lot of courage, the kid asks straight up if the servant was the one who finished those guys. With a massive grin, the assassin confesses to cleaning the area, and the MC freezes at the confirmation. Hitting him hard that he's facing a real killer, his stomach does flips from sheer nerves. Trying his best to keep it together, he remembers this dangerous dude is on his side. Nervously asking how he found the place, the servant explains he marked the intruders earlier. Blown away by the skill, the guy asks why the hitman acted on his own out there. Saying you gotta nip evil in the bud, the assassin hears that he wasn't given any orders, and no one saw that coming. Korsak reveals he strictly followed the 3rd article of the summoning rules, reading that protection comes before obedience. The assassin can ignore commands if there's danger. Testing if he'd get taken up by giving that order, Korsak confirms he'd disobey in a heartbeat. Arguing there was no real danger, the servant points out the protection rule is pretty flexible. Claiming those guys were a future threat, the kid freaks out thinking that's some psycho logic. Apologizing awkwardly, the hitman doesn't even care since he's used to his crazy reputation. Even trying to brush off the madness, he realizes his servant is a walking, ticking time bomb. Quickly picturing a chaotic scene of accidentally bumping into a bully on the street, knowing the bully would curse and threaten him, something any normal person would just ignore. But in Korsak's twisted mind, that's already enough reason to pack up the guy in a red ribbon. Terrified by the thought, the MC grits his teeth picturing the guy happily picking out the ribbon. Out of nowhere, the assassin kneels begging for forgiveness, making the guy awkwardly tell him to get up, warning him that taking lies brings trouble. The servant won't promise to stop but says he'll hide the tracks. Insisting that random hits are pure madness, the servant promises to try judging situations better. Seeing he's pretty obedient all things considered, the kid relaxes and dismisses the summon. But right before vanishing, Korsak asks if the master doesn't plan on climbing the tower soon. Freezing completely on the spot, the kid just stands there staring into the dark void. Clenching his fist tight, he knows the tower is the golden ticket to change his life. Picturing a massive monster right in front of him, the kid is terrified of becoming a snack. Quickly changing the subject, he asks about past masters and the guy confirms it all. Looking back fondly, the assassin says they were completely fearless warriors. Feeling like absolute trash, he notices he doesn't even have the guts to leave his room. When Korsak starts praising him, he gets cut off by the guy calling himself a massive coward. Finishing the sentence screaming, the servant says he's the best and leaves him super confused. Grabbing his shoulders firmly, Korsak warns him that safety always comes first. Smiling bright, the killer says bravery is poison and a brave summoner always drops early. Giving off major confidence, he tells the kid to chill because he's gonna handle the dirty work. Vanishing for good after that, the assassin wishes his master a long life while the guy stays deep in thought. Dealing with bad insomnia that night, the MC tosses and turns wondering what to do with his life. Questioning if he should risk it all, he wonders if it's better to just live without that debt. Deciding to stick to safe side hustles, he believes things will eventually work themselves out. But while stretching, the sharp back pain reminds him of his hard life just as his phone rings. Answering the call, his dad mentions a better hospital and reveals his mom just got fired. Freezing up at the awful news, the guy hides his nervous voice to keep his parents from worrying. Saying goodbye and promising a nice visit for a meal soon, he tells the old man to take care. Hanging up the phone, harsh reality knocks on his door demanding a ton of money all over again. When the next day hits, he throws on a vest and helmet, heading straight for the tower with a bat. Planning to peek at the first floor and bail if things get rough, he tries to summon some better backup. Thinking fast on the street, he decides not to call out that cute little psychopath again. Holding on to high hopes, he tries to get a new servant who's way less unhinged. Smiling with confidence, he already pictures himself pulling a legendary unit in the summon gacha. And just like that, everything changed. The system screen hits him with a reality check that the skill is locked. Almost falling backward from the warning, he reads that the cooldown is a whole month long. Running completely out of options right there, he calls Corsac, who immediately shows up thanking him for the high rating. Weirded out by the fake stars, the kid listens to praises about running away when looking at the tower. Snatching the bat from the guy's hand in a rush, the assassin says he'll hunt everything for him. Guaranteeing total safety for his master, he tells the kid not to lift a single finger inside. Popping up a new floating system prompt, it asks if he wants to enter the Black Tower. Warning him in another purple message, the system states that only the first floor is unlocked. Quickly asking if they can go all out, the protagonist confirms, and the servant taps right on the screen, rapidly confirming their big entrance into the place. An intense blue glow surrounds them both, getting sucked right in. The MC screams for Corsac while being dragged away. Falling through a tunnel of light and data, the two drop at insane speeds. Screaming his lungs out, the MC's face gets stretched out by the wind from the drop. Meanwhile, Corsac goes down chilling, surfing on a lightboard through the digital tunnel. Landing in a desolate wasteland, the kid is finally inside the Black Tower. Taking a quick look around, he notices the first floor is an absolute desert. Suddenly, a massive wave of nausea hits him from that freaky dimensional trip. Puking his guts out right there, he hears Corsac say he'll get used to it soon. Already completely recovered, the assassin points forward telling him to leave the safe zone. Stepping through the barrier, alerts pop up showing stat boosts and unlocked skills. Feeling his body change instantly, the kid now feels stronger and gets the hype. Looking at the quest, he needs to take out 5 fat grubs in just 2 hours to survive. Pointing out the targets from afar, Corsac shows the giant grubs crawling in the sand. Remembering his research, he knows those grubs are basically the tower's training dummies. Almost never attacking, they have skins so tough it's a massive grind to finish them off. Recalling the stories, the MC knows it takes people 30 minutes to drop just one, but clenching his fist now, he wants to prove he's a real player too. Deciding to take one out solo, he charges in while his servant watches completely lost. Mid-charge, the kid realizes he's weaponless and thinks about asking the assassin for one, but as he turns around, one of the giant grubs pops up right in front of him out of nowhere. Rearing its whole body up, the beast glows green and stares the guy down, ready to strike. Freezing up on the spot, the kid is completely paralyzed by fear. With a super shaky and desperate voice, he lets out a cry for help to his assassin. Smiling at his master, Corsac gives a thumbs up and praises the wise choice to ask for backup. Dashing straight at the grubs, the servant announces the real show is about to start. With a single smack to the head, he blows the first grub into 1,000 green pieces. Telling the MC to fall back, the other 4 grubs get lifted into the air out of thin air. With his hands glowing blue, the hitman quickly gears up for the finishing move. Unleashing a barrage of energy blades, he slices up all the grubs in one go. Ending the massacre right there, he turns around looking proud as the monsters drop. Revealing the move is called Blade Explosion. The grubs turn into glittering light. Dropping his jaw completely, the kid can't believe what he just witnessed. Watching those tough mobs vanish in seconds, they just turn into blue pixels. Popping up on screen, the notifications show a quest clear, a level up, and an S++ rank. Celebrating all cute and hyped, the guy thinks the rich life is right around the corner. Except far from there, he has no clue. A whole crowd sees a blue screen pop out of nowhere. Pausing her gym workout, a girl gets pretty spooked by that same weird alert. And in some random city bar, a tatted dude also stares at the glowing notification. At that exact moment, the same alert was glowing for every player in South Korea. Giving it straight to everyone, the screen asked if they were heading to the second floor or going home. Clearing the floor instantly, the MC gets teleported straight back to his room. Checking his phone right after, he's shocked to see only 5 minutes went by. Spawning out of nowhere, Corsac praises his master's hard work on that hunting trip. Saying he did nothing, the servant insists he did great while everyone else struggles. Checking out the loot on the table, he sees the blue stone and that silver badge. Grabbing the crystal in awe, it's the first time he's ever touched a real magic stone, worth a massive bag to the industry. That tiny bit already fetches 50,000 won. Thinking about it, he realizes everyone knows this thanks to TV and the internet. But getting confused confused by the other drop. He's never heard of that platinum badge, deciding not to sweat it since he just made 50 grand in 3 minutes. Celebrating the quick win, the MC calls Korsak over to share the dinner he ordered. Making a face of pure terror, the assassin looks like he smelled the worst thing ever. Thinking it's spice, he hears the flavor is mild, and his master calls him a wimp. Smiling completely relieved, the servant thanks him for the meal and gets ready to dig in. Eating together right there, the kid asks why Korsak talks so formally, explaining quickly. The headman says it's a speech habit from his old master. Joking about the whole thing, our boy calls it ex-summoner influence. Offering to change his tone, Korsak hears from his master that he doesn't need to. Bursting into laughter, the guy says his style is funny, and now he knows for sure. Wrapping up his thoughts, he thinks the tower isn't dangerous, but just a walk in the park. Wearing a helmet with the tower in the back, the kid claims he could do it with his eyes closed. Rolling into the next morning, the MC wakes up super pumped for his new routine. Tacking a poster on the wall, he names the sheet A Real Man's Routine. With a crystal clear plan, he dropped his side hustles, and now the focus is clearing the whole tower. Showing up glowing with joy, Korsak celebrates more points, and the master loves the sight. Getting pretty curious about it, the kid asks if the rating is really that big of a deal. Explaining how it works, the assassin says a high rating gives him tons of perks. Right as the monster is about to strange ends, the two jump into the second floor. Arriving on the new floor, the MC shows up looking super clunky while his servant is ready. Seeing the quest right ahead, now he needs to defeat 10 swift grubs in 2 hours. Shocked by their speed, the kid notices the bugs won't sit still for a single second. Looking at his servant clueless on what to do, he hears he won't even need to think. Holding up 3 fingers, the killer guarantees it'll all be over in 3 minutes. Pushing forward with glowing blue blades, he promises to wrap things up super fast. Getting super hyped, the MC shouts they're celebrating with chicken and beer after. Loving the master's great idea, Korsak unleashes his power and shoots blue lightning from his body. In the blink of an eye, he launches an attack that instantly wipes out the grubs, leaving the kid speechless at how OP he is. He levels up and scores 200 grams of stone. Hitting the bonus again, he bags an S++ rank and another platinum badge for his pocket. Looking at the loot in his hand, he wonders if clearing the tower isn't a bit too easy. Hitting the 3rd floor, Korsak lands striking a pose while the kid almost faceplants. In a quick flash, the 3rd floor is history with another level up, an S++ rank. Breezing through the 4th floor at the same pace, Korsak keeps wiping the floor with everything. Hitting the 5th floor, the exact same thing happens, and the kid gives his servant a high five. And this is where it gets good. A special alert glows saying he collected 5 platinum badges. In total shock at the news, the guy tries to guess what kind of bonus this is. Unveiling the mystery, the system says he can now summon 2 servants at the same time. With his updated status screen, he's sitting at level 6 with 2 summon slots, enjoying the new perk instantly. The kid thinks Korsak alone is already a one-man army. Admiring the shiny badges, he notices the S++ rank hands out some crazy OP rewards. Picturing a bright future, with another servant his safety will be absolute and unstoppable. Having just one tiny problem, the summon gacha still needs a 20-day cooldown. Saying the team will be complete soon, Korsak announces tomorrow's target is the 6th floor. Meanwhile in downtown Seoul, the vibe at the Awakened Agency is pretty heavy right now. Inside a fancy office, a whole crew is sitting in absolute silence. Filled with suspense, Agent Kwon-il waits for the next global announcement to drop. Sneaking up quietly, his coworker Mina asks if he's getting all worked up again, almost jumping out of his chair in shock. Kwon-il complains while the girl admits she's curious. Asking for update, she confirms the 6th floor with an S++ rank and he's stunned. Realizing the alerts just won't stop, Kwon-il notices it's the exact same person clearing everything. Picturing some mad genius behind this, he panics over that cracked rank dominating everything. Frustrated with the situation, he slams the table so hard everyone jumps out of their skin. The tension is heavy, so Director Park points out Korea's highest record was only rank A. Explaining how other countries steal talent or even kidnap the top players, he issues a warning. They're running out of time, needing to find this guy right now and watch every new registration. 2 days later at the MC's place, the winning streak is still going strong. Asking if today's target is the 8th floor, the pink-gloved servant confirms it with a smile. With the assassin cleaning the house, the kid figures everything up to the 10th floor is just a warm-up. Right after that, they step onto the 8th floor into a thick, foggy forest. Getting the quest to hunt 10 frog warriors, the monsters instantly surround the duo. A massive humanoid frog strikes first, shooting a giant purple tongue right at them. Without wasting a single second, Korsak spawns a glowing blue blade in his hand. Using fast and precise swings, he slices all the frogs at once, chopping them to bits. Alerts rain down on the screen as he levels up, bagging stones, potions, and that S++ rank again. Heading back to the room, the hitman congratulates his master who just stood there watching the sweep. The MC appreciates the easy fight, but hears that things get real starting on the 10th floor. Opening his wallet right away, he offers Korsak some cash to go out and have fun. He turns it down on the spot, refusing to leave the MC's side and shocking the kid with that rule. Suggesting fried chicken as a treat, Korsak goes wild for the idea while wearing a chicken hat. After ordering a huge meal with 0 spice, the protagonist decides to check his hoarded loot. Checking out the tower's healing potion, he sets the item aside as a gift for his servant. He looks at the pile of magic stones and notices he can finally turn all that into cold hard cash. When the 10th day rolls around, he's ready to fight and thinks about quitting his street job for good. Remembering the 9th floor was a breeze, he realizes the S++ rank is just standard now. With a smile, he toasts to his servant's success, completely forgetting the guy is a hitman. Then the system drops an alert saying Korsak's satisfaction gave him an extra hour in the real world. Celebrating the great news, he sees that being a good boss and giving 5 stars really pays off. Thrilled by the update, Korsak makes a heart sign promising to protect his master every single minute. Popping up on screen, the prompt shows they're stepping into the 10th floor of the Black Tower now. Thanks to a physical upgrade, the MC's body can handle the strain of this higher level. His combat skills and special traits are fully unlocked once again inside that place. Hitting the new floor, the kid feels true power coursing to all his veins. Energy overflows in his core, making his muscles lock up from so much stored power. With the image of a wild horse in his mind, he feels like a completely untamed stallion. Tapping his servant's shoulder, he announces that today he's finally helping out in battle. The assassin panics at the idea, swearing he'll end himself if his master gets a single scratch. Furling on a horse mask, the MC gears up for the fight, determined to do more than just watch. But peeking from behind the tree, he comes face to face with a giant green eye staring back. Spotting a colossal mantis, the floor boss, he almost falls backward at its sheer size. Panic hits him instantly, making him wonder how any normal person goes up against a freak like that. Thinking that jumping a bug 2-on-1 is cowardly, Korsak couldn't care less about fair play. The mantis glares at them with pure disgust, looking ready to turn them into its dinner tonight. Switching back to cute mode, the kid grabs some cheerleading pom-poms and yells for Korsak to wreck it. With its glowing purple size raised, the beast charges the assassin with all its might. Dodging like it's nothing, Korsak immediately jumps into a counterattack, spinning in midair. Fired up and seeing red, the hitman gears up to deliver the final strike. Unleashing a flurry of slashes in a flash, he shreds the giant bug to pieces in seconds. Notifications pop off non-stop showing he cleared the 10th floor, leveled up, and bagged more platinum. Landing triumphantly on the ground, Korsak celebrates the cleared quest as his blades fade away. The system asks if he wants to keep pushing or head home, giving both options on screen. Checking his inventory before leaving, he already has 5 kilos of magic stones stashed away. He remembers unlocking a sweet perk from those first 5 platinum badges he farmed. Seeing that 10 badges hand out a new buff, the MC decides to focus on that right now. With a super eager smile on his face, he pictures the system's next OP reward. Unveiling the rare perk, he can copy a skill and gets to look at Korsak's massive list. The assassin keeps it straight to the point, telling the MC to pick Shadow Step right away. Asking why he chose that one, Korsak explains it's the #1 skill for making a getaway. Kinda offended by the suggestion, the guy asks if he looks like someone who runs away. Confirming the skill copy, the notification alerts him that Shadow Step is now acquired. Korsak gets super hyped about the skill, claiming the secret to combat lies in his footwork. Curious about his new power, he tries to trigger Shadow Step right there in the room as a test. Complaining it's unfair only the summon works, he sees his own skill didn't activate at all. When day 11 of the tower arrives, the kid decides to make the call that changes everything. Calling up the awakened agency, he awkwardly introduces himself as Bong Joo-hyuk. The operator cheers on the other end, scheduling an official government visit right to his place. Collapsing out of pure exhaustion after hanging up, he only did this to sell his magic stones. A short while later, a woman in a suit walks through a parking lot packed with cars, asking about the S++ record holder. Wang Yeol hears from Chief Lee that yesterday's guy was a fake. Minna mentions a new call came in today asking if the boss is tagging along, and he confirms. Speaking with pure determination, he claims if it's the S++ guy, they're gonna offer him the world. Meanwhile, the MC goes into hardcore cleaning mode to make his room spotless for the guests. Ringing the doorbell right on time, the management agency freezes the kid up with nerves. He opens the door to his tiny room, inviting them both in while apologizing for the tight space. Introducing his partner, Imiya, who's also a player, she immediately starts staring the kid down. The woman steps uncomfortably close to his face, leaving the MC blushing and stuttering like crazy. And that's where it gets crazy. She whispers S++ with a sharp glare, and he almost falls backward. Gripping his shoulders tightly, Imiya pushes the topic while Gwangil just stands back and watches. Startled, the kid lets out a loud "what?", trying his best to cover up his shock. Feeling his heart race, he wonders how they know and if there's some kind of sensor in the room. With panic setting in, he decides his best play is to act dumb and deny everything. Striking a stiff robotic pose, the kid forces a fake laugh and claims it isn't him. She keeps giving him that "don't play me" look, easily figuring out he's the worst liar on earth. Smacking his partner on the head, Gwang-il tells her to stop scaring the poor guy in his own home. The leader apologizes for the lack of manners, finally letting the MC breathe a sigh of relief. Popping up on the TV out of nowhere, a cute mascot named Tabby invites everyone for a story. As the documentary starts, a bizarre and sinister structure appears, making normal buildings look like toys. Spawning into the world 20 years ago, nobody could even lay a finger on those weird towers. An invisible wall blocked anyone trying to get close, simply turning people into dust. Clearing up the mystery with the players, they sweep the tower like it's just a video game. They turn into gods inside, and the loot they bring back runs the entire planet's economy. But the mascot warns that if no one climbs for 6 months, the tower enters a collapse mode. Hitting 0 on the clock, the tower blows up and takes the city with it, just like what happened to Mumbai. Since things are pretty chill in Korea, there's only one tower sitting out in the Gangwon-do Mountains. Estimating around 10,000 players, that's practically nobody compared to the total population. Treated like true heroes, these guys are the brand new explorers of the modern world. Wrapping up the hyped video, the rookies get called up to become the hope of humanity. With the corporate talk over, Gwang-il announces it's time for the routine questions. Confirming he really had his awakening, the kid shows off the stones and says he cleared 10 floors. Both agents freeze up instantly at the news, quickly connecting the dots to the S++ record. Locking her eyes on the MC again, Imiya feels like she finally found the needle in the haystack. Dropping the fatal question, she asks about the global S++ rank announcement. The MC tries to keep his cool, calling the guy a genius with a stiff, nervous laugh. But his twitching face and super sketchy awkward smile give everything away. Switching gears, Gwang-il explains the agency's elite and general teams. He breaks down that generals are freelancers, while the elite squad works for the government. In exchange, they get top-tier perks like crazy money, weapons, and heavy security outside the tower. That word salary sends the MC into a panic, terrified of becoming the center of attention. Picturing reporters hunting him down, he screams for help inside his own head. The mere thought of being famous scares the kid way more than any monster ever could. Right as the Sichin mentions body cams, the guy cuts him off instantly. Stating he'll stick to the general team, he leaves Gwang-il completely baffled. He insists the normal squad is fine, confessing he's scared to death of all that stuff. With a smile, he claims he just wants to farm a safe floor and collect his pocket change in peace. Trying to push the idea, Gwang-il sees the MC won't budge and just gives up. Imiya quickly looks away, convinced he's just another dead-end lead. Figuring he's just a coward looking for an easy life, she finds his attitude pathetic. To this hardcore agent, the protagonist lacks a hunter's most important trait, pure drive, being more diplomatic. Gwang-il respects the kid's choice as he awkwardly says thanks. The leader asks him to enter the tower right now to finalize the registration, and the guy agrees. Suggesting a quick raid, the MC realizes this is still a low-key skill test. He accepts the challenge, promising to return in 2 hours while the agent waits. Dropping a condescending "don't push yourself," she says they'll just chill right there. Ready for the mission, the kid gears up to put on a show or completely embarrass himself in the tower. Offering the guests some drinks and the TV, he heads straight into the entrance portal. A bright blue flash swallows the guy whole as the portal sucks him in right before their eyes. Confirming his real awakening, Gwang-il asks his partner what she thinks of the weird rookie. She calls him a total wimp, betting he'll quit right on the 11th floor. Because that place is pure psychological terror, the gross and creepy centipede tunnel. Having to crush 100 giant centipedes, she's positive he's gonna freeze up. Gwang-il agrees, predicting he'll run back to the safe zone and beg to leave. With that in mind, the team leader decides to call the agency director right then and there. While letting the boss know the MC is a dead end, our guy summons Korsak inside the tower. Arriving in a burst of energy, the assassin gives a salute, ready for duty. Their new quest demands they wipe out 100 centipedes in just 3 hours to win. Creeped out by the nasty bugs, he hears his servant promise to finish it all in 5 minutes. The kid interrupts immediately, telling him to play it safe and avoid the S++ ranks and no one gets suspicious. Catching on to his master's play, the plan is to look mid and dodge the government's radar. With a mischievous smile, the guy thinks he's gonna fool those agents with zero effort. Kicking off the dirty work, Corsac instantly slices the first centipede with his blue blade. But he starts off going way too hard, making the MC scream for him to slow down. Keeping up with the fight's pace, the MC realizes he just stepped into a massive trap. He falls into sheer panic as giant centipedes completely surround him. Screaming in pure horror and disgust, he feels a sea of creepy little legs brushing all over his body. Desperate to run away, fear turns his legs to jelly and he freezes right on the spot. Spotting from afar that his master is about to pass out, Corsac takes action instantly. The hitman tells his boss to leave it to him, flying over like a lightning bolt. Furious that those freaks even touched the MC, he kicks off an absolute massacre, clearing the zone in a flash. He unleashes a rain of blades that leaves 0 survivors. That brutal carnage makes the protagonist scream desperately for his servant to stop, complaining he's moving way too fast. The ground quickly turns into a mountain of dead bugs. Corsac simply replies that his master's safety overrides any command, ignoring the order to hold back. Freaking out over the mess, he knows if the servant doesn't hit the brakes, they're screwed. And no one saw that coming. The screen flashes his floor 11 clear with an S++ rank and platinum badge. Mourning his ruined plan, the kid hears his servant apologizing telepathically. With no way to turn back time, the MC decides to leave the tower and face the music outside. Back in the apartment, Imiya points out it's been 5 minutes and he's probably running back. A system window suddenly pops up right in front of them, making Kwangil yell for his partner in shock. Reading the global alert, Korea's floor 11 just got cleared with an S++ rank again. The kid spawns in the living room that exact second, leaving both agents completely speechless. Unable to process what he just saw, Kwang-il hears Minna explain that the MC just came out. Arriving at the exact millisecond of the alert, the young guy stares them down, dead serious. He lets out a heavy sigh, claiming he didn't want to let things go this far. With his eyes glowing red, he warns them that sadly, he has to silence them both. Towering like a monster behind his master, Corsac threatens the agents and sends them into a panic. The master screams his servant's name, ordering him to lock the two of them down right then and there. Rushing them in a flash, Corsac strikes with a speed the human eye can't even track. But all of this was just the MC's wild imagination, because in reality he's screaming in pure terror. Having a full-blown mental breakdown, he yells that he never ordered anyone to take a life. His brain pictures the agents wrapped up in gift ribbons, so all he can do is beg for forgiveness. Seeing him shake in real life, Imiya asks if he's okay while Kwang-il calls his name. He collapses on the floor, sweating buckets, playing it off as just some heavy paranoia. Getting up all awkwardly, he apologizes before Kwang-il doubles down on the offer. For his final desperate play, the kid swears the timing was just a massive coincidence. Not buying that excuse for a second, Kwang-il says the timing was flawless while the kid stands his ground. The agent gives a fake little chuckle, pulling out a folder and announcing it's contract time. Grabbing the paperwork, the MC almost has a stroke seeing it's an elite contract. Kwang-il explains his case is entirely different, stating he's on a whole other level. Called the Ultra Elite Contract, it's a special tier for absolute freaks of nature in the tower. Those insane perks included 12 billion a year, huge mansions, and even a private escort. Scoring immunity in the process, he'd basically be above every law in the country. That's straight up royalty status, something only Korea's #1 rank gets to enjoy right now. Asking him to read it over slowly, the agent gets hit with a deadpan no on the spot. He yells that if it's not the normal contract, he doesn't even want to be a player anymore. Gooching out over the guy turning down a fortune, he hears the kid say he hates drawing attention. Fame is his worst nightmare. The MC literally ran out of a store just because someone said good morning. He even stopped going to a diner because the owner recognized him and his heart couldn't take it. Looking at each other, it finally clicks that this guy is the biggest introvert in history. While huddled in the corner, he explains he doesn't want all that weight on his shoulders. Realizing he won't win this battle of stubbornness, Kwang-il finally agrees to the standard contract. They shake hands to seal the deal, since the kid knows massive cash means massive responsibilities. Being in the elite squad, he could never stop climbing and would be forced to face everything. Peace of mind is way better, as he just wants to live a slightly more comfortable life. Cutting over to the management office in Seoul, the tension is super thick in the air. The furious director reads the report, grilling Kwang-il about this completely unmotivated shy guy. Clueless on how a wimp pulls an S++ rank, the agent thinks the MC is truly one of a kind. Remembering the kid's smile, He concludes he's the rarest average civilian he's ever seen. When asked about a potential mistake, Emiop promises that S++ timing was absolutely flawless. Smashing his fist on the desk, the big boss screams to drag that genius into the elite no matter what. Guang'o nods with a dead serious look, locking his mind on recruiting the MC. Heading back to the kid's dump of a room, he keeps pretending to be mad and turns down the elite. Standing to the side apologizing again, the MC sighs and threatens to unsummon him on the spot. Right after that, our boy steps onto the 12th floor to hunt 20 ice weasels. Summoning Corsac, he gives a strict order to take it slow, but the servant just screams his loyalty. Smiling at the plan, he thinks he'll finally look like an average player and dodge the agency. Freezing right along with his plan, the kid shakes like a leaf complaining about the insane cold. Thinking he bundled up enough, he feels the tower's true temp and the servant notices how pale he is. Going into full panic mode, the hitman promises to wrap things up at lightning speed to warm him up. Yelling for him to slow down, the MC watches his servant hit turbo mode and completely tune him out, screaming that a master's cold would be incurable. He claims the MC's life is on the line. Trying to use his absolute obedience authority, he realizes it's useless and the servant is fully possessed, resulting in yet another S++ rank notification and one more platinum badge for the collection. Getting the news back at the office, Wang Il nearly drops his phone from the shock. Heading back to the safe zone, Corsac celebrates that his master is warm and safe once again. Exhausted and just wanting to watch TV, he tries to send the servant back to his own world. With his conscience popping up like a ghost, he gets scolded not to give up on the grind. Hitting the 13th floor, the new challenge is a hallway packed with deadly traps. Refusing to let his master touch the ground, the servant grabs him saying it's way too dangerous. Dashing at top speed, he dodges incoming arrows with the MC tucked right under his arm. Spotting a giant bat on the 14th floor, Corsac drops the beast before it can even launch a sonic attack. Bagging another S++ rank, the MC just sighs and accepts his fate, saying, "It is what it is." Opening his banking app, a massive smile breaks out seeing the 4 million won he just got. Doing the math for the last few floors, he realizes the cash is rolling in heavy now, making over 7 million in 2 weeks. He dreams of pulling in 30 million a month. Showing up the next day, Corsac thanks him for the perfect rating even after being so rebellious. Giving up on fighting his servant, the master tells him to clear everything however he wants. Figuring the agency is already suspicious anyway, he decides to focus on getting 15 badges. Flashing a pretty wicked smirk, he admits power is addicting and the perks keep him safe. Yelling for the servant to destroy it all, the hitman salutes ready for all-out war. Stepping onto the 15th floor, the mission now is to hunt down 20 worker goblins. Spawning into a super thick forest, the nasty little monsters quickly show their faces. Watching everything from his hiding spot, he knows things get real now with monsters that actually think. Remembering a fleeing goblin brings back the whole squad, he's told to stay perfectly hidden. Smiling like a true killer, the servant guarantees he'll handle everything in the blink of an eye. Activating stealth on the spot, he vanishes into thin air and the MC only sees an energy trail. Watching the goblins get sliced up out of nowhere, the kid sits there stunned by the whole scene, dropping without even knowing what hit them. The servant's efficiency is absolute and cracked. Pulling off a flawless victory, he scores a level up, loot, an S++ rank, and unlocks the next tower floor. Materializing back in the apartment, master and servant spawn in that classic blue aura once again. Landing on the bedroom floor, they just stand there catching their breath after the raid. Opening the inventory super fast, the blue system screen glows right in the middle of the dark room, floating like shiny trophies. There they are, the 15 platinum badges he managed to stack up. And this is where it gets good. The kid almost jumps out of his skin with joy seeing the system's new perk alert. Remembering he already got a summon slot and a skill, he wonders what OP reward is coming next. Confirming the prompt, the reward is an energy shield kit dropping straight into his inventory. Looking at a gorgeous golden bracelet, the MC wonders exactly how the shield operates. Equipping the accessory, he reads that the barrier absorbs damage and scales up with his level, triggering a blue dome around him. The MC realizes the item isn't just locked to the tower. Bursting into laughter at the discovery, he notes that he finally has real-life protection too. Guessing its market value, he figures he could bag 3 billion won and retire for good. But that loot addiction speaks louder. Right as his servant says an S++ rank isn't guaranteed on 416. Feeling a little deflated by that, he wonders if his easy ride is finally coming to an end. Chewing on his snack, Corsac doesn't get the drama and the crisis his master is going through. Stuck in a cruel dilemma, he can't decide whether to sell the bracelet or push his luck again. Grilling the agents back at the office, the director asks about the missing S++ record holder. Answering right away, Guangil reports it's been 15 straight days of silence from the rookie. Smashing the desk in pure frustration, the boss refuses to accept wasting such a massive talent. Keeping his cool, Wang Yol believes the delay is just the guy playing it safe due to the difficulty. Suddenly, the phone rings and the agent answers, completely stunned by the news about the MC. Connecting the dots instantly, the director asks with glowing eyes if it's what he thinks it is. Guessing the MC farmed cash to gear up, he remembers the kid had absolutely nothing before. Feeling like a complete fool, the boss almost criticized the guy's genius strategic prep. Giving the final order, he tells them to give him the royal treatment and sell him items for dirt cheap. Flashing back 15 days, Corsac almost fell backward and stuttered at his master's command. Lifting his shirt and pointing at his stomach, the MC tells his servant to stab him already. Freaking out over the command, the servant hears it's just a test run for the energy shield. Covering his ears and screaming, Corsac flat out refuses to ever hurt his master. And that's where it gets crazy. The kid loses his patience and just drives the dagger into his own gut. Except he forgot to turn the shield on, making the servant panic and want to chop off his own arm. Lecturing his master hard, the assassin tells him to never pull that stunt again and just hunt goblins. Letting out a war cry, Corsac vanishes into the forest, wiping the map at a cracked speed. With the hunt wrapping up in under 10 minutes, the MC just watches from a safe distance, deciding not to just stand around. The kid figures he'll use the time to practice his own skills. Focusing all his energy, he triggers the ability he copied from Corsac, Shadow Step. His eyes start glowing, a blue aura wraps around his body, and he feels the power surging hard. Shooting forward in a snap, his body moves like a blur and leaves a glowing trail behind. Staring at his hands in pure awe, he finally grasps what it feels like to be a real player. Getting why Corsac hyped it up so much, he can now escape or attack with total freedom. But right mid-practice, he freezes, and his heart almost jumps out of his chest from a sudden surprise. Spotting a goblin hiding nearby, the nasty little guy lets out a scared squeak after getting caught. Jumping right at him, the MC goes into shock seeing the monster from this close. Realizing the bugger was hiding from Corsac, he just bumped into the very last survivor. With its eyes glowing red, the goblin lets out an ear-piercing screech and goes on the offensive. Throwing his arm up out of pure instinct, the kid yells shield, and the barrier saves his life. Kicking the goblin away in a panic, he sends the freak flying and complains about how gross it is. Spawning out of thin air, Corsac intercepts the beast and finishes the job with a clean slash. Landing with a smile, he asks if his master played soccer in high school and praises his kick. And just like that, everything changed. Corsac's look turns ice cold and super worried in a split second. Screaming his boss's name, he flies straight at him like the world is about to end right there. Bulldozing to the forest, he desperately asks if Summoner Bon is still in one piece. Shaking the kid like crazy, he gets yelled at, and the MC claims he's painfully fine. Getting a reminder not to take risks, the MC covers his ears and just pretends to agree with it all. Revealing his 2-week grind results, he mastered his skills and stacked up 11 million won. Jumping back to the present, Guan Il acts all friendly, thanking the young guy for the call. Asking to hit up the store, the agent sends an official ride and the kid gladly accepts the perk. Spotting a luxury limo right at the agency's door, that massive VIP treatment was all for him. Stepping out of the car all hunched over, the MC dies of embarrassment from all that loud flexing. Greeting him with a huge grin from ear to ear, the agent gives him a very warm welcome. Seeing that the VIP treatment is legit, the MC walks into the massive and luxurious building. Scanning his ID at the check-in, the system confirms his data and hands him a free pass. Getting offered a guided tour of the place, the MC prefers to check things out solo and in peace. Sliding the automatic doors open, the MC freezes at the entrance, drooling over the epic gear. Inside the store, he finds it weird not bumping into anyone besides the staff. Guessing the prices are sky high, he decides to start turning those stones into cold hard cash. The clerk values the loot at 11 million, adding that the deposit takes 3 days. Wishing the kid a good shopping trip, he notices the MC's social battery is at 0%. Back in the office, Guangil drops the secret that he cleared the store just so the MC could chill. By dropping everything by 90%, the leader fools the guy into thinking it's a massive sale. Watching the sun set over the city, the MC heads home super happy about his big savings. He shows off his haul back at the apartment, flexing the mace and boots that were a major steal. With a lingering doubt in his head, he remembers those items were priced around 30 million. Realizing that VIP treatment is is legit. He sighs knowing there's no such thing as a free lunch. After thinking about his purchases, he realizes he doesn't even need armor with the energy shield active. He confesses with a little smirk that the system is tempting, despite wanting to stay humble. Calling out Corsac the next day, he announces the target is now the 16th floor. The kid's heart skips a beat after noticing the cooldown timer just reset. Figuring some backup couldn't hurt, he gets super hyped to pull another servant. Like something out of a movie, he starts a whole ritual mixing prayers and mantras to ask the gods for help. A purple light explodes in the room as a giant silhouette starts taking shape in the portal. He drops his smile instantly, realizing the beast coming through is way too massive. Cracking the portal's energy, a steel chest packed with muscles and scars pops out. Pale and sweating cold, he wonders what on earth he just brought into his home. Watching his own soul leave his body, he cries over the deposit wasted on this pull. Through the gateway, a massive hand wrapped in a purple aura emerges alongside a giant foot. The portal starts shattering under the creature's weight, guaranteeing the whole room gets wrecked. Wrapping up the summon, the giant appears facing away while the MC lets out a terrified squeak. He turns around with glowing red eyes, leaving the guy frozen and scared stiff. Skipping the small talk, Corsac already jumps at the big guy looking to take him out. That full power flying kick lands right smack in the middle of the giant's face. Screaming for the dude to drop, he keeps up the combo and asks the master for help to flatten him. Without even blinking at the attack, the barbarian claims the kick didn't hurt at all and just tickled. Boiling with pure rage, Corsac swears he's gonna rip his head off and tie a ribbon on it. The servant leaps into the air going all out, getting ready to slice the big guy's neck. Throwing himself in the middle with wide open arms, the MC screams for both to stop right now. After telling Corsac to chill out, he hears that the new guy is just a dumb meat shield. Ordered to recite the rules, the giant gets all mixed up and fails hard on the third one. Mocking the whole scene, Corsac tells him to end the guy to get a 100-day ban, shocking the MC. By opening the system screen, he sees he pulled a rare rank meat shield barbarian. He loses all his hype instantly, discovering that the R rank is the lowest and most disappointing of them all. Trying to make small talk, the giant doesn't even know his own name or where he came from. Out of options, he taps the screen to check the details and his eyes light up. Wrapped in a weird energy, he gets sucked right into the barbarian's memories once again. Waking up floating over a green field, he wonders where the heck he is right now. In the vision, the smiling giant was just a pure warrior who only wanted peace and nothing else. Ruining that peace, two giant wolves surround the barbarian ready to strike. The big guy grabs both wolves by the neck, asking if they want to play a little. Showing up out of nowhere, a blonde knight named Arius comments on the giant's massive size. When asked for his name, the giant sadly replies he even forgot who he is. And that's where it gets crazy. The narrator reveals the barbarian got played by a cowardly fake hero. Tanking the Hydra's poison and fire, he ripped off the beast's heads one by one. He didn't even feel his skin burning while melting from the acid to protect his friends. Hearing the voices of those friends laughing, the MC feels all the pain and betrayal from that memory. As the vision ends with his skeleton melting, the kid finally understands the meat shield nickname. Snapping back to the apartment, he's completely horrified by the cruelty of his servant's backstory. With a warm welcome, he approaches the sitting brute and invites him to the tower. Deciding to name him, the MC asks if he prefers barbarian or meat shield. The giant thinks about it for a sec and chooses to be meat shield after the kid insists. Promising to make him happy, he asks if there's trust and the servant confirms it instantly. By announcing their team now, the MC leaves Corsac terrified of the idea. But after a quick mental calculation, the hitman's expression completely flips. Admitting a meat shield is handy, he decides to train him up and the MC gets hyped. Corsac gets annoyed calling the giant over, seeing that he only repeats the word ready. Looking like a complete disaster on paper, the squad consists of a shy player, a hitman, and a dumb shield. The system updates their stats, announcing their arrival on the 16th floor. Unlocking his combat skills again, the MC fills up with pure drive under that blue aura. From the quest screen, they need to take out 30 scout goblins in 5 hours to survive. Barking orders in the dark forest, Corsac tells the MC to turn on his shield and ready his step. He looks up and spots the danger, seeing the goblins hiding out up in the trees. Suddenly, he notices a weird glow aiming straight down at him. Spotting a goblin at the top, the creep charges energy in his staff for a sneak attack. In the last possible millisecond, Corsac spawns in front to block the hit and shocks the MC. Yelling that it's an ambush, dozens of goblins pour out of the trees attacking everything. He gets in position to tank the rain of projectiles, telling his master to dodge the danger. Watching the explosions on the ground, the guy realizes he walked right into a massive monster trap. Without any hesitation, Meat Shield steps right up to protect his master. The giant's eyes glow with wild fury as he locks complete completely onto the enemy ahead. Clenching his fist super tight, a flaming orange energy starts overflowing. With a massive leap, the giant drops a brutal punch on the ground, catching the goblins off guard. Wiping the area with the blast, he sends the mobs flying and leaves Corsac completely speechless. Meat Shield's silhouette popping out of the dust even scares the hitman. Continuing the massacre, dozens of goblins get vaporized all at once by the strike. That shockwave pressure is so intense, it sends Corsac flying while he curses the big guy out. Hiding behind a tree, the MC thinks this absurd strength is just pure madness. The survivors try another barrage of attacks, firing their staffs once again. Not even tickled by the blasts, Meat Shield complains that the hits just make him itchy. Swearing total obedience, the brute bulldozes through and finishes off whatever is left of the mobs. Mind blown by an R rank's power, the MC guesses he's actually SR level but just a bit goofy. Jumping the scene back to the apartment, the table is completely covered in fried chicken boxes. It's finally time to celebrate, so they get ready to stuff their faces with food. Eating with the squad, Corsac freaks out over the spice and gets shut down by Meat Shield. Out of nowhere, he catches the kid off guard by calling the MC a good person. Explaining he'd lay down his life for his master in exchange for chicken, the MC smiles at his loyalty. And just like that, everything changed. The brute screams chicken randomly and scares the MC half to death, killing the cute vibe. While complaining about the scare during a sensitive moment, Corsac spots the giant wiping his mouth on his clothes. Pushing forward to the 17th floor, all their stats get buffed up once again. A pillar of blue light wraps around the hunting party, marking their entry into the new zone. The guy flexes his muscles at level 17, feeling like the absolute master of the universe. Running high on adrenaline, he wonders if he should actually fight this time in the tower. Right on the spot, both summons block him and tell him not to get cocky as they protect him. The system updates showing the new goal is to wipe out 30 elite goblin warriors. Facing a whole legion of armored goblins, the MC realizes that watching videos was completely useless. Staring down the army, he notices those 100 monsters are actually pros at battle strategy. By scanning the fields, he sees the safe zone behind him, and the goblins blocking the only path. The guide's plan of luring the mobs in trios feels way too slow for his taste. He ignores the safe strategy, deciding there's no time to waste and calling out the big guy. Pointing at the army with a confident smirk, the MC gives the final order to attack. Now it's showtime, and the absolute massacre was about to kick off right in the middle of the map. After ordering the giant to wipe the floor with them, he already pictures the sweet loot he'll get. Crashing down like a meteor, Meat Shield catches the goblins completely off guard. A helmet-wearing freak lets out a roar, ordering an immediate counterattack on the spot, setting up a wall of spears. The goblins try to hold back the giant monster's charge. Without even blinking at their defense, the brute tanks the danger head-on. Pushing forward like a steamroller, he bodies the front line and sends goblins flying. The giant's brute strength kicks off a total massacre, wiping the monsters off the map instantly. Watching it all with a smile, the MC is blown away by his summon's cracked performance. He realizes strategy only matters for similar levels, watching a literal tank crush bicycles. Right on cue, the system announces his S++ rank on the 17th floor and another platinum badge. Glowing with that victory, the kid just celebrates his massive achievement right there. Meanwhile, in the back, Corsac is fully stunned, questioning the whole logic of that battle. Popping up on screen, the next quest demands he take out 30 assassin goblins. By stepping into the creepy forest on 418, the danger now strikes straight from the shadows. Giving the order to push hard, the MC watches Meat Shield shoot forward like a rocket. Those monsters use stealth to snake through the darkness like rapid blurs. Vanishing into thin air, the enemies leave the brute completely stuck and clueless on where to look. With a blank face, he snaps his neck from side to side without spotting anyone. Realizing things just got real, the MC feels the tension spike as the enemies stay hidden. Meat Shield just throws punches at the air, roaring and calling the assassins out for being cowards. Echoing through the dark forest, a sinister laugh rings out in response to the yells. And this is where it gets good. Corsac shows up all dramatic, claiming he'll show them true class. Bragging that the goblin's stealth is a joke, he vanishes instantly using Shadow Step. The hitman slices up enemies like lightning, making the kill counter shoot up non-stop. Impressed by the sight, the MC just mutters his servant's name with pure pride. Flashing an evil grin inside, he sees the hitman took the bait perfectly. Since he knew Corsac gets super jealous, he used that competitive streak to speed up the run. Staring down at his own hand, he focuses on leveling up while his summons do the heavy lifting. He grips his mace tight, remembering he also hit level 18 in the tower. Bursting with red and blue energy, it's finally time to show off his hidden power. That energy tightly wraps around him with massive force, taking the shape of a wild horse. Trusting the the intel he studied, he gears up for the hunt on this floor. Aware that the goblin's stealth is super basic, he easily tracks their movements. Feeling super confident, he remembers grinding Shadow Step non-stop back on floor 15. He dodges an invisible goblin with a lightning-fast move, leaving the monster completely lost. Glowing out of nowhere, the brand new boots on his feet catch the kid off guard. The gear comes alive, forcing a spin kick, making the MC yell out in pure panic. Landing right on the goblin's head, the strike sends the freak flying straight into orbit. With 10 kills under his belt, he proudly strikes a pose over the defeated enemy. Celebrating his first hunt while panting hard, he acts as if that kick was pure raw talent. But popping out of the shadows, a much creepier assassin goblin leaves the MC frozen stiff. Keeping up the massacre on his end, Corsac cheers when he sees the counter hit 18. That kill count shoots up super fast on screen, jumping straight to 25 bodies. Yelling in pure hype, the assassin announces the job is almost done with only 3 left. Meat Shield's glowing fist catches the hitman by surprise right across his path. Smashing the ground with both fists, the brute unleashes an absolutely cracked shockwave. The massive impact wraps up the quest, sending the last assassin straight into the stratosphere. Hyping the big guy up, Meat Shield turns into a ball and rolls right over Corsac. Right in the middle of the chaos, the hitman notices his master is missing and starts freaking out. Blasting a flash of purple energy, the light suddenly illuminates the entire forest. Under attack by a creepy goblin, the MC gets saved by a mana shield at the very last second. Wiping the sweat off his forehead in relief, he realizes something super weird is happening to him. A surreal calmness takes over his body as he gets surrounded by 2 deadly enemies. Flowing with a two-toned aura, he wonders if this is just the effect of pure adrenaline. He watches time almost grind to a halt, noticing the goblin's movements slow way down. With his eyes glowing with power, the MC feels the whole world slip into slow motion. Taking advantage of the slow-mo, he moves like a flash and finishes the monster off with energy. The system confirms the kill, dropping the S++ rank and another platinum badge. Meanwhile, Corsac is still losing his mind, screaming the MC's name through the dark woods. Popping back up all bouncy, the kid celebrates bagging the final strike for the quest. Corsac drops to his knees in pure despair at the bizarre scene, while Meatshield just watches. Freaking out outside the tower, a staff member sees floor 18 cleared with an S++ rank. Inside a meeting, some bald dude punches the desk in pure hype and calls the player a true phenomenon. Dying to spill the truth, he's shut down since it's too dangerous, but stays super proud. By concluding the MC is a top-tier player, the squad demands even closer eyes on him right now. Spreading the news across the country, some mystery player just rewrote history with that S++ rank. This wild phenomenon brings the entire nation to a halt, making everyone try to figure out who the genius is. Letting out a deep sigh back in the room, Corsac leaves the MC feeling pretty confused. The kid tells him to spit it out already, and the servant replies that everything is moving way too fast. Confessing that the MC's speed at awakening his talent is honestly terrifying. In absolute shock, he points at his own chest and asks if the servant is being dead serious. Starting to laugh awkwardly, he says the hitman must be messing with him. Corsac keeps a straight face, warning him there's absolutely no joke here in this conversation. Explaining that his shadow step was flawless, he claims the whole situation is super dangerous. He drops a heavy lecture, reminding the kid about their promise of safety first instead of taking wild risks. Agreeing right on the spot, the MC swears he'll never take risks again and will focus on one at a time. Corsac just shakes his head, and his suspicious look gives away that he isn't buying it. Seeing his master's little smirk, the hitman feels like the real trouble is just getting started. With a bad feeling in his gut, he goes back to crying, predicting his master will cause a massive catastrophe. Keeping up the dramatic show, he screams that the MC is going to attract a major disaster. Meat Shield suddenly pops up from behind, pinning the hitman down and telling him to stop being a crybaby. Breaking free in a rage, Corsac punches the giant and threatens to cook him alive right there. The whole thing turns into pure domestic chaos, wrecking the entire kitchen as the brute crashes down, sending a sauce jar flying from the fridge. It hits the MC, who panics over his food. He desperately tries to flex his authority, yelling for both of them to stop and return immediately. Seeing the damage is already done, the MC drops to his knees, spotting his mom's kimchi spilled on the floor. Stunned into silence, he decides he needs to head to his parents' place to just clear his head. Rolling into the next morning, he's already walking down the hallway of his family's apartment building. He throws the front door open, announcing to the house that the prodigal son has finally returned. Replying in surprise from inside, a voice tells him to just get his butt inside already. Once he spots his dad in a hospital bed, his mom starts complaining about his absence and how his siblings missed him. Stepping closer, he asks about his dad's hip recovery, who grumbles that bones take forever to heal while accepting help up. His mom calls them over for some stew, mentioning his little brother went out to buy tofu down the street, taking over the whole table table. The smell of that homemade stew meant it was ready to be devoured. Asking if money is tight, his mom promises to get a job while his dad calms him down. To test the waters, the MC casually drops that it'd be perfect if he got an awakening or something. His dad locks eyes with him, asking if he's thinking about becoming a player, which makes the kid freeze. Bursting into laughter, the old man calls his son a wimp just like him and asks his wife to kill a roach. With a deadpan face, his mom thinks there's zero reason for them to be proud of that. She asks if he shouldn't be at work, watching him stutter out a lie about having a day off. Chuckling, she points out his face always gives away a lie, sending the MC into a panicked denial. A sweet smile crosses her face as she claims to believe her son, leaving the guy feeling super touched. Dropping some real talk right after, she warns him to absolutely never get involved with loan sharks. That heavy warning brings back some tense memories, making him change the subject and ask about her job. Explaining she dealt with a trashy client, she mentions the guy even demanded she take out his garbage. She proudly states she doesn't take disrespect, so she completely roasted the guy and lost her job over it. Being that fierce and standing up to injustice, his dad's biggest win in life was just asking her out. The funny little chart shows the original weak man ended up spawning the junior weak men. Smiling warmly, she suggests only talking about awakenings when their lives actually get better. Back in the city, the family's apartment building sits under a blazing sun. His little brother stops the MC outside, asking about the envelope and hearing it's his allowance. Right as he's leaving, his brother calls him back, leaving the older guy pretty confused. Seeing the kid look awkward, he figures his brother is just embarrassed about having his tuition paid. He puts a hand on the boy's shoulder, trying to play the understanding and supportive older brother. Instantly dropping the act, the youngest straight up asks for his cut of the family allowance. Calling his brother a little punk in his head, he transfers $500,000 and tells him not to waste it. A little later, the MC stares up at the massive awakened office building. Thinking about heading back to his room, the urge to protect his family pushed him to level up instead. Even after hearing the shop requires an appointment, he decides to try his luck anyway. He knows the high-floor monsters hit harder and harder even with his energy barrier up. Deciding to buy a shield, he gets offered a golden one for 100 million won. The MC almost has a heart attack over the price tag, yelling right in the store at that insane number. Stuttering that it's way too expensive, he backs away complaining the saleswoman is too pushy. By showing off a round hand shield, the clerk says it's lightweight, durable, and budget-friendly. Testing the gear out and loving it, he thinks the shield and his mace are a match made in heaven. He shyly asks for the price of that little beauty in his hands. Hearing it costs 40 million, he agrees instantly, even though his hand shakes while swiping the card. A deep sigh of relief escapes him after the purchase. Glad he invested in his own safety. Wrapped in an aura of defeat, he figures facing retail workers is worse than fighting goblins. Someone calls him over for a quick chat right as he's leaving. Leaning against the wall, the guy asks if he just got his awakening, putting the MC on high alert. The stranger holds his hand out, introducing himself as Choi Hosok and claiming he's a player too. Shaking his hand, the MC introduces himself and hears that Hosok practically lives around here. By offering to help him out with anything, the guy seems like a genuinely solid dude. His new acquaintance repeats that he's always around if the kid ever needs backup. Watching the guy walk away, the MC admires his charisma and even feels a little jealous. As the dark night rolls in, the moon lights up the tops of the big city's high-rises. Pulling up his status, he hit level 19 with Corsac, Meat Shield, and Shadow Step. He celebrates the new level but knows he has an errand to run before climbing another floor. Deciding to summon Corsac, he wants to plan their next moves while checking out dinner. The system confirms a successful summon, announcing that John Corsac is on the way. Popping up with a jump scare, Corsac tries to play it cool and praises their recent quest results. When cut off by the MC, he sees the new shield and declares things are getting serious now. Corsac sighs at the overreaction, hearing the kid promise to play it safe and run at the first sign of danger, making him pinky promise. The servant really doesn't want him charging headfirst into enemies. He agrees to the deal and gets the wild advice to just sacrifice his summons and bail if necessary. Right before they start, the hitman catches a very weird smell in the room's air. The MC flashes a huge smile, revealing he bought giant dumplings for him to snack on. Asking his master to take care of the spoiled giant, Corsac throws that petty jealousy around again. While happily grabbing a dumpling, his face drops into dead serious mode in a single second. The kid denies it right on the spot when asked if someone is out to get his master's head. Cutting the chat short, the servant warns that someone outside is completely overflowing with bloodlust. Instantly freezing up, the MC tries to wrap his head around a real killer lurking out there. The kid quickly obeys obeys the order to hide as an energy barrier completely covers him up. And no one saw that coming. A gunshot blasts right through the door, but the barrier easily tanks the hit. Dropping to the floor terrified, the MC watches the projectile roll right across his tiny room. Slowly creaking the door open, an armed dude steps in and drops a super creepy, cynical "Hi." Going into pure shock, the kid can't even process what's going down in his own home. The creep recognizes him from the shop, smiling like a maniac and saying tracking him was a hassle. Yelling that he didn't give him permission to speak, he orders the MC to open his inventory and hand everything over. In pure panic, he thinks it's absolute madness to pull out a cannon inside an apartment. Wrapped in a sinister aura, the guy warns that being stubborn is just a one-way ticket to the grave. He presses the weapon right against the MC's face, asking if the kid thinks this is some kind of joke. Mocking the kid's fear, Hoseok thinks out loud that he hit the jackpot picking this target. About to teach him a lesson, he doesn't even notice the shadow spawning right behind him. And that's where it gets crazy. Korsak drives the hilt of his sword into Hoseok's face with everything he's got. Spitting blood in shock, the thud drops a curse before completely blacking out on the floor. The intruder hits the ground stiff, his last sight being Korsak holding his dagger looking dead serious. Watching the scene totally frozen, the MC tries to figure out how the tables turned so fast. Super hyped, he jumps up and praises the servant for knocking the guy out without sending him to the graveyard. Admitting he was scared, Korsak would slice the dude up. The servant acts casual and denies it completely. After checking out the body on the floor, the kid realizes the guy is a shady black market item broker. He remembers the rumors, knowing these scumbags hunt down players outside the tower. Flashing back to the agency, he remembers that an elite contract prevents these kinds of surprise visits. It hits him hard that without real-world summoning, he'd just be a body laid out in the living room. Seeing just how OP his skill is, he watches Korsak tie the scumbag up with a pretty ribbon. The servant offers to take out the trash, but hears the MC would rather just call the cops. Almost choking on his drink far from there, the agency big shot learns player Bong went shopping. He gets super disappointed hearing the kid only bought a cheap little shield. Trying to guess the MC's class, they assume he's some kind of frontline brawler. Quickly making up an excuse, he decides to gift the kid a full set of armor. His phone rings right then, and the vibe gets heavy seeing it's the player police calling. Picking up expecting a routine check, Guanil loses his mind hearing what went down with the MC. At top speed, a car screeches its tires through the alleys in a matter of seconds. Guanil flies up the stairs, dropping a curse out of pure anxiety and worry. Blaming himself for not locking down the contract, he prays player Bon is still in one piece. While slapping cuffs on Hoseok at the apartment, the cops hear him scream that the MC tried to end him. The thud plays the victim card, claiming he was kidnapped while the officer mentions taking statements. Going into full panic mode, the MC already pictures himself in a striped uniform eating prison food. Suddenly busting the door open screaming, Guanil orders everyone to freeze right there. Hoseok recognizes the manager, breaking into a smile thinking his backup finally arrived to save him. Celebrating the arrival, the scumbag assumes the agency is here to bail him out of trouble. Without saying a single word, Guanil delivers a cinematic right hook to Hoseok's face. Left completely dizzy, the criminal spits out a tooth with zero clue why his savior just decked him. Chewing out the intruder, a cop calls him a liar and warns that his registration is gone for good. Completely furious, Guanil cracks his knuckles and looks at the thug on the floor who can't figure out where his plan failed. He orders them to take out the trash, mentioning the NIS will pick him up, and making the guy practically wet himself in fear. Screaming that he's just a scumbag, the manager swears they're gonna dig up every single one of his past crimes. By telling him to go get a lawyer, he mocks the guy saying no fool would ever dare defend him. A cop explains the rules, warning that if he tries running into the tower, he'll just respawn in the exact same spot. He turns to the MC with a terrified look, and the kid confirms he's okay. Staring right at him, the manager calls out his name, dead serious player Bong. With a deep bow, he offers a sincere apology and promises this is never gonna happen again. Realizing he can't put this off any longer, he knows he needs to secure the MC with that elite contract. Asking how everything went down, Korsak hears the cops took care of that trash. The servant wants to know the jail's location but gets cut off as a kid forbids him from chasing trouble. Out of nowhere, the system beeps and announces that Meat Shield was summoned successfully. Fascinated by the sight, the giant counts the stars in the sky, making the MC wonder if he actually knows how to read. The squad rallies up and steps onto the 19th floor to wipe out 30 goblin shamans. Since the floor is packed with curses, the only actual danger comes from those status spells. Not caring about the danger at all, Meat Shield immediately charges in to bulldoze everything. The shamans team up to cast a massive group hex, covering the giant in dark energy. For just a single second, the brute stumbles a bit and feels the heavy weight of the curse. With an epic roar, he shatters the spell right then and there using a massive shockwave. The MC drops his jaw, watching him cancel out a curse using nothing but his voice. Moving at the speed of light, Corsac spawns right behind his teammate. After being told to stop playing around, the brute confirms the message was received loud and clear. Like a literal hurricane, both servants rush in and go all out against the monsters. Corsac slices up several shamans at once, landing a clean and super fast strike. With his mason shield in hand, the MC gets hyped to finally break a sweat in this fight. The system suddenly drops an alert, showing the quest is already over and leaving him completely confused. Glancing at his two standing servants, he realizes they wiped the whole map in mere seconds. When asked if the master enjoyed the show, the MC realizes they did it on purpose just to keep him safe. By confirming the S++ rank, the system hands over one more platinum badge for his collection. They finally step onto the 20th floor, walking into the talent discriminator, an absolute living hell. Corsac warns him that this place is a nightmare, mentioning every type of goblin imaginable spawns here. Meat Shield tells the MC to just relax, promising to obliterate everything in their path. Through the quest screen, they find out they need to take down 100 mixed goblins and 1 hobgoblin in 10 hours. Smiling and ready for combat, Corsac notices the MC realized they were planning to sideline him. The brute gets sent in as bait, jumping right into the horde and roaring for them to bring it on. Out of nowhere, a flood of goblins wielding poisoned arrows spawns from the shadows. A massive wave of goblin warriors pushes forward hard, charging straight at Meat Shield. Getting pretty annoyed, the MC thinks they're dead wrong if they expect him to just stand and watch. Corsac looks back, completely surprised by his master's bold and entirely different attitude. Suddenly, a trail of blue energy pops up, whizzing right past Meat Shield. Using a skill, the MC announces it's his turn to take the front line and leaves the giant stunned. He leaps completely over the horde, pulling off mid-air maneuvers to dodge the incoming arrows. Landing safely on the other side, he proudly celebrates pulling off that wild acrobatics trick. Meanwhile, in the back, Corsac goes into total despair and starts screaming his master's name non-stop. The MC looks back on his life, remembering he was always the quiet, socially awkward guy. Remembering back to when he was little, a bigger kid boldly stole his toy truck right in front of him. Little Ju-hook just stood there watching the bully walk off laughing, having no clue how to react. Making things worse with school bullies, they even stuck a note on him calling him a beggar. He stayed isolated through high school, becoming the laughingstock just for being hard-stuck in bronze rank. That same sad movie played out in his senior year, where he ate alone and sealed his fate as a total outcast. Realizing he'd never picture himself throwing punches at monsters, he finally faces his past. And just like that, everything changed. He realizes monsters don't judge him and are just pixels waiting to be smashed. Dead serious about his choice, the plan now was to crush everything and secure the bag. Corsac keeps up his show of pure panic, continuing to scream for his master in the background. Spotting the goblin spearman charging in to skewer him, the MC refuses to stand still and makes a move. By using Shadow Step, he turns into a blur and slides right through the spears with pure agility. When a goblin tries a dirty trick, the MC quickly proves he's way smarter than the monster. He snaps the beast's weapon right in half, wrecking the monster's face with a solid strike. Keeping up the rhythm, he slices up the goblins while weaving through enemy lines using his technique. Right after that, he launches himself and buries his shield into a warrior's chest with ridiculous force. Corsac watches it all in shock, completely unable to believe the level of his master's Shadow Step. Spotting a massive cloud of poison darts, the servant screams a danger warning to the MC. The kid spins around super fast, ducking behind his new shield to tank the heavy hit. Blocking every single dart, he realizes without the energy barrier, he would have turned into a human strainer. With panic kicking back in, he wonders if he just bit off way more than he could chew. He bawls his eyes out for help, seeing Corsac clearing a path just to save him. Ordered to run straight toward the cliff, the MC picks up the pace without looking back. Meat Shield stands tall like a brick wall, ready to get turned into Swiss cheese for his master. The MC's lungs are already screaming for a break while he keeps up his desperate escape. He finally gets a clear view, spotting that cliff right at the end of his escape route. Hitting the absolute edge, he questions if this crazy plan was actually the right move. The kid goes into total panic mode, having nowhere left to run after seeing it's a dead end. Surrounded without a single way out, he starts seeing the light at the end of a tunnel and thinks it's game over. Meat Shield crashes down right in front of him, becoming his official meat bumper for the attacks. The giant stretches his arms wide, looking like a living mountain, and making the goblins shake with fear. Clearing the zone with a brutal sweep, the brute sends those monsters straight straight to the grave. Corsac praises the squad's efficiency, easily dropping 2 stealth mobs trying to sneak up on him. 2 shamans try to close the gap, wanting to buff up the monster army, moving like a literal lightning bolt. The hitman spins around and preps the finishing blow. He pushes forward, dead focused, tossing the shaman off the edge to end this once and for all. After taking out the last enemy, he strikes a victory pose in a pile of bodies waiting for some peace. He announces the 100 goblins are history, warning that the final boss should spawn at any second. Truly impressed, the MC points out his 2 summons wiped the map clean in the blink of an eye. While trying to thank them, he notices Meat Shield right up in his face and tells the giant to back off a bit. A deafening roar echoes out of nowhere across the map, making the MC cower all over again. There stands the hobgoblin, the peak evolution of the species and the absolute buff chad of all goblins. The monster glares down the servants with a red aura, just overflowing with raw power. Corsac calls the shots from up high, ordering Meat Shield to push in for a direct clash, letting out a massive war cry. The giant claims that fight as his and his alone. Meat Shield blocks the hobgoblin's massive sword using just his bare arm, without even breaking a sweat. The monster completely short-circuits, watching its strongest attack get blocked like it's absolutely nothing. Spotting the opening, Corsac yells if the giant did his job and orders him to lock the beast down. The hitman drops from the sky like a falcon, his daggers glowing as he gets ready to end the contract. The system confirms the total massacre, announcing the 100 goblins and the hobgoblin were eliminated. Leveling up from the fight, the MC takes home a mana stone and 5 exclusive potions. With a cheeky little chuckle, he decides it's way better to just let his summons do all the heavy lifting. He bows down in pure gratitude, thanking both of them for saving his skin out there. By announcing the S++ rank, the system hands over the badge and initiates the teleport back home. That 20th floor record absolutely breaks the internet, making everyone wonder who this monster is. Looking at his phone back home, the MC sighs, knowing that record is going to bring a ton of trouble. Far away, some big shot orders the news to drop so they can use the hype to track the record holder down. Switching focus, he asks about the Bong family investigation and gets handed an envelope. With the report showing the MC's dad recovering, the boss feels bad about his old age. Asking how to help, the higher-up instantly approves paying for the best rehab center out there. By checking out the little brother, the boss decides to throw in a full scholarship as a perk. Finally, a picture of the mom, Mrs. Goomja, pops up and the boss wants to know her deal. The underling shocks the boss by explaining she got fired for arguing with a client. Whispering, he warns that the mom is the real danger, running the house with an iron fist. The boss agrees with the plan, ordering them to use all their influence to protect the Bong family. Hearing a knock on the door, the MC's trained nose already catches the scent of pure joy. Meat Shield gets hyped by the smell too and is told to stay super quiet. He tells both of them to hide, throwing a blanket over them so nobody sees a thing. Dropping off 12 portions of everything, the delivery guy even throws in some free fried dumplings. Right as a guy leaves, the MC complains and calls him cheap for only giving 1 freebie. Adding to his frustration, he digs through the bags and doesn't find a single discount coupon, but snapping back to reality, he'd die of embarrassment using the coupons sitting in his drawer anyway. Pulling the blanket off his servants, he gives them the green light to dig in, leaving them mesmerized. The MC asks the drooling giant if he's never had anything this good before. He just lets the big guy be, even as he starts devouring the crunchy bowls. Through his inventory screen, the MC watches his summons clear the table at a frantic pace. Via a system alert, 20 platinum badges unlock a special perk. Checking the items, he sees he hit the milestone and gets curious about the new reward. A mysterious golden box spawns, revealing the perk is a super flashy random box. Completely confused, the kid has no clue what that mystery box in front of him actually is. Explaining it drops 3 items. The massive list of possibilities leaves the MC shocked. He decides not to stress about all that stuff, just trusting his luck instead. The basic items look super mid, and the weapons seem completely unimpressive. Spotting the level up rune, he figures skipping a floor is a scam since he blues out on the loot. Even seeing tickets to foreign towers, he knows the real treasure is something else entirely. With the top prize being a summon ticket, he already starts daydreaming about the possibilities. Picturing himself being carried in a carriage, he'd just enjoy the breeze with a legendary servant. He smiles cleverly, feeling like luck is on his side since there are 3 rewards. Staring down the box with determination, he orders it to open, even promising to become a saint. As it starts to spin and glow super bright, the box preps the first drop of the draw. With his eyes locked and his heart pounding, the MC waits eagerly for the big reveal. Dropping right into his inventory, the first item is 10 kilos of mana stones for the stash. He collapses on the floor in frustration, complaining that stuff is trash since he gets it so easily. But hyping himself back up, he calculates that selling it all still bags him 5 million won. Getting his good mood back, he tells the box to hurry up and reveal the second prize, and no one saw that coming. He instantly learns a Chaos Lightning Staff skill. Reaching his hand out for all or nothing, he orders the box to drop the final item. A summoned Great Up Rune pops out, leaving the kid completely in awe. Knowing right away, he realizes he just won the tower's lottery all over again. The description confirms the item is used to level up a servant's rank. That's exactly what he wants, but he starts second-guessing who gets turned into an SR or SSR. Clueless on who gets the rune, he views both of them as equally reliable or equally goofy. Thinking about giving it to Corsac, he remembers all the meals they've shared together. Quickly changing his mind, he remembers Meat Shield is the one who cleaned his plate the most. By reading that evolution depends on potential, he decides to save the rune for Corsac. Putting theory aside, the MC figures it's time to test out that brand new skill. The skill electrifies blunt weapons, having 3 evolutions and getting stronger the more you use it. Thinking it over with a smile, he sees an offensive power spike was exactly what he needed. He feels the power rushing straight to his brain after unlocking the first form, Lightning Soul Chaser. Pulling out his mace out of curiosity, he gets in position to test drive the new ability. He shouts the technique's name and unleashes a massive flash while swinging the weapon hard. Holding the final pose, he expects the room to explode with movie-level special effects. That whole display makes him conclude he would have demolished the entire building if it worked in the real world. Sneaking up quietly, Corsac asks why he's swinging at the air, and here's the big news. The kid flashes a massive grin, explaining he finally got his hands on an attack skill. That news blows the hitman away so much he even lets his food bowl slip right out of his hands. Spotting the free dinner, Meat Shield isn't dumb and quickly snatches the bowl for himself, yelling for the giant to give it back. Corsac hears that a true warrior never wastes anything. The MC simply unsummons them both back to limbo, having zero patience for this daycare. As the next day breaks, a blazing sun and a clear blue sky paint the city. Sitting on the floor, the MC reflects that he fully understands all of Corsac's drama. His summoner trait makes him completely reliant on his summons for combat. Theoretically, a summoner doesn't need to get their hands bloody, especially an irregular one. Thinking about Corsac's original master, he figures the guy must have been an absolute beast. But even being a phenomenon, that master dropped dead and his world turned into cosmic dust. Getting where Corsac's trauma comes from, the MC doesn't want to be just a spectator on his own journey. Fired up with cotton swabs in his nose, he also wants to lay the smackdown on some monsters. He summons the duo back, believing a good pep talk will win his servants over. The system confirms Meat Shield and John Corsac are back in the game. Noticing Corsac's face, the MC points out he aged 10 years just from worrying so much. He warns that the new skill might be a trap, saying their earlier luck was just against goblins. Keeping it real, he warns that fighting orcs is a whole different ballgame. The giant sends the MC into a panic by showing up with a rope, making him think they're gonna tie him up. Saying it's not exactly like that, Corsac's eye glows with pure, bossy intent. The hitman declares that from this moment on, Principle 3 is in full effect. Explaining the rules on a chalkboard, the last one states the master's life is worth way more than any orders. Meat Shield leaves him desperate and completely out of breath with a massive bear hug. Putting the giant in his place, Corsac says that's only meant to be used inside the tower. With the plan being the giant playing babysitter, the MC realizes his servants just staged a full-on mutiny. Sighing in pure defeat, the kid realizes he needs to resort to some desperate measures. He pulls out the puppy dog eyes as his secret weapon, but Corsac won't budge an inch. He promises he only wants to hit one enemy at a time, swearing he won't do anything crazy. Wavering at the request, the hitman hears that his safety is still priority number 1. Corsac finally gives in, warning that if things get too heated, he's crashing the party. Sealing the deal with a crisp salute, the servant reaffirms he's always there to serve. They step into a thick forest covered in shadows after announcing the 21st floor. The giant takes offense at the comment about orcs being strong but dumb, swearing he's a genius. Suggesting a quick training session, he hears an impatient Corsac say he can train 1,000 times. By offering Meat Shield as a punching bag, the hitman leaves the kid feeling pretty awkward, threatening to go fight solo if they don't stop. The MC makes the servant completely panic. He prefers testing it out on a real orc and pushes forward, saying he's already memorized the theory. With the 21st floor quest up, they need to wipe out 30 orcs to clear it. The horde shows up, bringing massive brute orcs with glowing purple eyes ready for a brawl. Without waiting a second, the summons charge straight to the front line, leaving a trail of destruction. Turning into a flaming comet, Meat Shield blasts right into the orcs and sends teeth flying everywhere. Keeping up the momentum, the brute hands out punches and hammer strikes to the orcs, showing zero mercy. Turning into a steel tornado, Corsac slices up multiple enemies at once with surgical strikes. Watching from the front row, the MC drops his jaw at his servant's absolute cracked speed. Realizing the fight is almost over, he notices he won't even get a chance to say hi. Spotting Corsac Corsac crouching. An orc glares at him and the assassin lets out a hiccup, giving the cue. Asking all height to fet one is his, the MC gears up to strike. Launching himself forward, he focuses his energy and preps his brand new skill for its debut. Watching from afar, Corsac sees the orc brace itself to tank the impact of the attack. Whizzing right past, the energy trail makes the beast scream in fear at the sheer speed. Landing smoothly, the MC links right into a spin to leave the enemy dizzy and clueless. Thinking the first form is pretty simple, he knows the orc has another thing coming. Raising his mace, the weapon gets swallowed by golden lightning and heavy energy pressure. With the system window glowing, the MC feels the damage is going to be on a whole other level now. Screaming the technique's name, he brings the mace down hard right on the orc's head, creating a massive shockwave. The beast's face gets wrecked while the electricity fries it. Smiling because he feels OP, the MC sees the skill isn't just a cool name. Celebrating the fight, he thinks the whole thing was a total walk in the park. With his joy cut short, another orc spawns out of nowhere with a giant axe ready to split him. Getting hyped for round 2, the MC already asks if the next guy wants a beating too. Squashing the orc like a bug, Meat Shield's giant foot leaves the MC completely hanging, giving him a look that says, "A deal is a deal." The servants remind him it was just a one-time thing. Clearing the 21st floor, the system announces a level up alongside more stones and potions. One-shotting a desert orc, he's already out in the wasteland by the very next day. Securing another S++ ring, he easily breezes through the 22nd floor. Bulldozing a cave orc, the routine turns into a joke and he wraps up floor 23. Becoming history with a single strike, a volcanic orc marks the end of the 24th floor. Gearing up with a little smirk, he sets his sights on the milestone 25th floor. Standing up in his room, he figures hunting one by one is slow, but keeps his spirits high. Remembering he owes them one, he decides it's finally time to hand out the runes to his squad. Summoning Corsac, the servant spawns in a soldier's stance but finds the call a bit weird. Casually offering the rune, the hitman innocently asks if it's something he can eat. Touching the item, he glitches out seeing it's a summon grade up rune. Screaming in absolute shock, he can't believe this is real and then he's about to level up. Asking all smug, the MC wants to know if his lackey liked the gift. Stuttering with emotion, Corsac barely believes he got such a priceless item from his master. Realizing the SSR rank is right around the corner, he gets super touched by the kid's thoughtfulness. Promising to protect Summoner Bong with his life, he cries tears of joy and makes the MC proud. Telling him to evolve already, the kid hears that rushing ruins the perfection of the ritual. Getting that the process is super deep, the MC decides not to rush his servant's evolution. Promising to return in a brand new form, he gets invited to chill out and stay a while. Accepting the invite, he figures the best way to relax is by checking out what's on TV. Trying to catch a rerun, he hears the MC tell him to use VOD but thinks it's way too pricey. Yelling out of nowhere, the MC orders his servant to flip the channels back real quick. Obeying instantly, Corsac stops on the news and the MC spots his mom protesting in shock. Completely frozen, he tries to wrap his head around how his mom ended up on the broadcast. Showing Mrs. Hong, the report catches her holding a sign fighting against unfair dismissal. Keeping it real in the interview, she warns she wasn't gonna bow down to some dirty trick. Explaining the client wanted her to be his trash maid, she clarifies her job was just fixing the purifier. With her blood boiling, she got fired for refusing to apologize even though she was right. Wrapping up the interview, she mentions she's been there 10 days while the suits just laugh at her. Spitting pure facts, she warns that next time she's gonna run everyone over like a tractor. Walking up to her, some guy asks if she's Mrs. Gumjan, and she readies her umbrella like a weapon. Introducing himself as Lee Chang-sok, an elite lawyer, he claims to really admire her fight. Freezing for a split second, our MC's mom hears the dude is a legal expert. Her blood boils right back up, leaving her face completely twisted in pure outrage. Screaming that she won't back down, she startles the lawyer who asks her to just chill out. Explaining the plan is the exact opposite. He wants to help her sue the company and leaves her stunned. Flexing that he's from Park and Kim, he promises to do the whole job entirely for free. Saying he heard about the case at the ministry, he swears the firm's intentions are strictly pure. Suspicious of the freebie, she senses the guy is legit and wonders if she should trust him. Hyping her up, the lawyer says destiny is at work and she decides it's now or never. Agreeing to team up, Mrs. Hong watches the lawyer celebrate her super fast choice. Snapping his fingers in excitement, Dr. Lee announces the first step is exposing this to the media. A whole army of reporters spawns. surrounding the MC's mom who gets dizzy from all the camera flashes. Coaching her not to hold back, the lawyer wants her to spill every single humiliation she faced. Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Hong gears up for the show with a look of pure justice. Watching it all from his room, the MC's heart aches picturing what his mom went through. Feeling like a complete loser, he blames himself for not giving her the support she deserves. Facing reality, he wonders how on earth she scored a Park and Kim lawyer for free. Unsheathing his blades, Korsak asks if he should go have a little chat with the bosses. Seeing his servant is a real bro, our MC finds it kinda cute. He wants to handle things old school. Telling him to put the weapons away, he explains the legal side is covered and calms him down. Deciding to send his mom some cash, he calculates his stones are worth 10 million won. His phone rings mid-math and he answers saying it's his dad on the line, asking if he saw his mom on TV. The old man tells him to chill out about the angel lawyer. Laughing it off, his dad says they couldn't afford it anyway and tells his son to focus on his own grind. Mentioning that Ilsung Hospital called, he leaves the MC suspicious since that place is for the rich. Explaining he won some lottery, he shares he's getting admitted to come out good as new. Stressing that it's all covered by a program, the MC realizes a miracle just hit his family. Thinking about how Ilsung is the best in the country, he notices this coincidence smells like a setup. Calling right after, his brother Minhyuk jokes if today is some family phone call holiday. Asking about their mom, he vents that his blood is boiling over all this injustice. Offering to return the allowance, he hears from the MC that he actually needed a new laptop. Revealing he bagged a scholarship, he figures the universe finally decided to conspire in their favor. Asking who the sponsor is, his brother drops the bomb that it's from the Awakened office. Connecting the dots instantly, the MC tells his brother to just study and stop asking questions. Realizing this wasn't luck, he sees the management office move the whole world just for him. Determined to settle this, he calls the team leader and books a private dinner. Showing up a little later, the two are already sitting face to face in a traditional restaurant. Asking straight up without any fluff, the MC wants to know why he did all that for his family. Admitting to the play right away, the man says it was necessary and leaves the MC speechless. Explaining that a player with home drama doesn't perform well, he puts the MC right in his debt. Questioning the VIP treatment, he points out he signed the standard contract, not the elite one. And this is where it gets good. The leader slaps the table, making the plates jump and scaring the MC. Tossing a document on the table, the title reads, Super Elite Contract Upper Class. Dropping the ultimatum with a winner's smile, he tells him to sign it right now. Caught completely off guard and sweating, the MC can only let out a super weak Han. Getting pushed to become super elite, the MC feels like the offer is way too good. Thinking the guy set up a massive trap, he sees there's absolutely no way to dodge the offer. With insecurity hitting hard, he looks at the paper and wonders if his talent is really worth all that investment. Jumping up from the table with a burst of energy, the leader almost makes our MC jump out of his chair. He stares the kid down, asking if he really thinks he's average after breaking all those records. With no comeback ready, the MC sweats bullets and has no clue where to hide from the man's heavy pressure. Admitting it to himself, he realizes there's no arguing against 24 cleared floors. Out of sheer desperation, the leader bows and begs the MC to accept, bringing up the recent attack. He insists the kid deserves the best, bringing back the MC's trauma of having a weapon in his face. Awkwardly asking the leader to sit down, he gets a promise of total security, but the kid still resists. Spills the truth, saying the mandatory recording clause is what holds him back the most. Sensing victory is close, the leader points out the protocols can be adjusted and grabs his attention. The MC's resistance starts melting away when the guy explains he can live completely alone. For the ultimate checkmate, the leader offers 2 luxury homes, making the MC seriously consider the deal. Catching that sparkle in the kid's eye, he already knows he won the bet and seals the deal. Our guy reaches his hand out toward the signature line, already picturing himself in that mansion. And that's where it gets crazy. He freezes his hand at the last second, giving the leader a near heart attack right at the finish line. Asking for just a little more time to think, the MC leaves the guy feeling pretty anxious. Explains he wants some advice first, making the leader calm down and agree to wait for his choice. The very next day, the MC wakes up with his heart pounding out of his chest from pure anxiety. Popping up in a purple explosion, Korsak introduces himself as a super special assassin and startles him. The system confirms his rank jump from SR to SSR, but the MC quickly tells him to tone it down, praising the new look. The kid says he called him over for a serious chat before tackling the floor. Quickly agreeing, the servant nods along that talking to the empty-headed brute would be a waste of time, and listens. He explains the dilemma, asking for Korsak's honest opinion on that elite proposal. Raising his arm, the assassin gives full support, claiming he deserves to be treated like a king. With one foot still out the door, the kid fears the demands, but the servant guarantees they can handle it. bullet, interrupts him right there, with the MC stating their safety is what matters most in the end. The assassin reveals the existence of legendary summons, telling the kid he could have them all. Guaranteeing absolute obedience, he makes the MC picture the silhouettes of overpowered monsters. In a super hyped voice, Corsac even mentions demigod-level beings, sitting way above any humans. He goes into pure shock, unable to even process what commanding a demigod would actually look like. Asks if he even has the strength for that, and Corsac replies, not today, but definitely in the future, begging his master to be careful. The servant calls random summons his ultimate trump card. The kid does the math, realizing 1 pull a month means 12 a year, and starts doubting his luck. On the floating screen, the system timer shows 19 days left until his next gotcha pull. Dropping some golden advice, Corsac tells the MC to put an ironclad condition right into the contract. That advice means the choice to climb for has to be 100% his, zero pressure allowed. The hitman pinches the bridge of his nose in pain, explaining that being forced to climb is a death sentence. Noticing the heavy vibe, the MC figures Corsac must be dealing with some pretty bitter memories. To wrap it up, the servant warns him not to be a puppet, even though government support is pretty sweet. Right after that, the system chimes in to announce that Meat Shield just entered the area. Spawning in and bowing down, the giant immediately hears Corsac picking a fight because he isn't making eye contact. He keeps it real, stating a true warrior doesn't greet just anybody, which totally ticks the hitman off. Starts bragging out loud, with Corsac yelling that he's now SSR special, super, and rare, rubbing it right in the barbarian's face. He screams that the level gap between them is massive now. While Corsac demands to be looked at, the giant sweats bullets, completely terrified of that new power. The MC watches the whole comedy show and decides the next evolution, Rune, is definitely going to Meat Shield. Announcing the 25th floor, a super hyped Corsac asks why the MC is looking so tense. Through the open portal, a massive horde of orcs shows up, leaving the MC stunned by their numbers. The kid flashes a little smirk, thinking he's gonna catch at least 2 of them off guard this time. Asking with a wicked smile, Corsac wants to know if the master is ready to witness true SSR power. Without even waiting for an answer, he sends Meat Shield straight to the front to act as bait. He dashes forward at top speed, yelling that the show is on and he's the main target today. Pulling off a massive leap, he locks both fists in the air, looking exactly like a human jackhammer. The brute unleashes all his fury into a single punch, letting out a roar that makes the whole earth shake. Completely frozen, the orcs can't figure out if the giant just missed his shot or completely lost his mind. Cracking the ground wide open, a colossal shockwave explodes and sends orcs flying in every direction. With a straight-up villain smile, SSR Corsac finally enters the battle chat to do some damage. He turns into an electric blue blur, slashing through the area at speeds the human eye can't even track. Standing perfectly still, the MC realizes the assassin's speed is on par with a fighter jet now. Corsac flies across the battlefield, using his daggers and a blue aura sharp enough to cut through thoughts. Easily wiping the area clean, he slices the orcs up like they're nothing but wet tissue paper. Activating Blade Explosion, he plants detonators that turn the entire zone into a deadly minefield. He notices even the hiding orcs got turned into barbecue, treating that skill like a literal bazooka. In a desperate counterattack, a surviving orc launches a rain of projectiles straight at the hitman's chest, piercing right through Corsac's body. The weapons leave him looking like a block of standing Swiss cheese. The monster breaks into a massive grin, genuinely believing he finally took down his executioner. But that smile fades instantly when he catches the reflection of the real Corsac popping up right behind him. Melting into a puddle of water, the hit body was just a clone illusion, and the orc fell right for it. Softly whispering a "guess again," the real Corsac spawns right in the ears of 2 doomed orcs. He unleashes despicable ambush, turning the battlefield into a messy web of light beams that shreds them apart. Calmly wiping the blade clean, the assassin looks highly satisfied with the massive damage he just caused. The leftover orcs shake with fear, staring at what's left of their squad in a state of pure shock. Turning completely pale, a blue sub-boss orc realizes death has a first and last name in this room, spawning right in front of him. Corsac flashes his poison dagger and asks why he looks so gloomy. He warns that the fun is just getting started, telling the beast this massacre still has a long way to go. The MC sees his servants are about to wipe the whole map, so he kicks into high gear to join the action. Cranking Shadow Step to the max, he charges forward like a blue lightning bolt straight at the leftovers. Mid-air with his weapon fully charged, he drops like a heavy meteor right on top of 2 distracted orcs. By remembering what Corsac said, he knows staying alive is the main goal. But he has other plans today. Gripping the handle of his weapon tight, he figures he needs to level up and get completely cracked right now. A golden aura explodes from his body, fueled by his drive to reach a level where his loved ones can finally breathe easy. He unloads a blunt strike, absolutely running over an orc who doesn't even see the truck hit him. Keeping his mind laser focused, he realizes he can't just get carried by his summons forever. With a monster sneaking up from behind, he braces himself with pure determination to grow the hard way. He slips right past the enemy's attack, pulling off a master dodge while preving the payback. Landing a heavy kick to the ribs, he sends the orc flying to the other side of the map, smashing everything. Already knocked out cold midair, the monster hits the dirt, feeling the heavy boot of our MC right on top. And this is where it gets good. A giant two-headed orc spawns, letting out a breath of pure hatred. Activating the first form of his staff, he doesn't even flinch and stares the massive beast down. He triggers Soul Chaser, frying the two-headed freak with a massive blast of purple energy. The beast completely locks up, getting roasted from the inside out right before kissing the dirt for good. Seeing the rest of the horde charge all at once, the MC cracks a smile and gears up for total chaos. Instantly triggering Shadow Step again, he turns into a blue blur, dancing right through the enemy's strikes. In a state of pure panic, the targeted orc watches the glowing staff heading straight for its face. He spawns a chain of energy, swinging through the air to build momentum and dodge an incoming hit. Aiming for the next neck at the peak of his jump, he hears the orc let out one final scream of pure terror. The kid preps himself in midair, locking on to the biggest group of monsters for the ultimate impact. Crashing right on target, the Thunderstaff triggers a golden explosion that lights up the entire floor. Feeling the weapon vibrate heavily, his eye glows a deep blue from all that stored up power. On the floating screen, the system beeps to announce second form unlocked, Scattered Lightning. He celebrates wrapped in that blue aura, knowing things are about to get wild with this brand new form. Figuring out the technique's mechanics, he thinks about how overpowered Scattered Lightning really is. Without wasting any time, he triggers the second form and a golden lightning aura wraps around his body. Energy explodes in every direction, shooting out bolts that leave the monsters in total despair. Hitting a target and splitting up, the beam of light fries anyone standing nearby. Right, and the strange agitation, let's say, calls into 5 beams to wipe the map completely clean. He gets super hyped over the update, realizing he finally bagged an AoE damage skill. Spawning right next to him, Corsac scratches his head, confused, wondering about the sparking orcs. But a stray bolt zaps the assassin right in the rear, making him let out a massive yell from the shock. Landing with pure drama, the servant strikes a soap opera pose and cries out for Summoner Bomb with a shaky voice. The guy marches straight toward the kid, looking like he's about to drop a 2-hour lecture. Losing his cool, Corsac points out the MC got carried away and forgot their deal, totally embarrassing him. Awkwardly apologizing, the MC lowers his head to his own subordinate right there. He then freezes up, taking a quick second to reflect on how weird this whole situation is. Thinking fast, he wonders why on earth he's begging for forgiveness from his own summon. His blood boils, deciding he doesn't need to walk on eggshells around Corsac since he's the boss here. Grumbling that safety is everything, the hitman hopes the orc boss shows up so he can vent his anger. Determined to beat the boss to a pulp, he eagerly waits for the monster to show its face. Completely lost in the conversation, the MC looks around, clueless about the heavy vibe between them. And that's where it gets crazy. A colossal orc boss spawns right behind him, turning the kid paper white from the scare. Swinging its axe down to split him in half, the massive beast makes the MC scream for Corsac in pure panic. At the very last millisecond, Corsac throws himself in front to block the axe and roars, "Loyalty." Regretting everything, the MC realizes he really should have listened to his servant from the start. With zero fear, Corsac stands tall, points at the orc boss, and tells it to get lost right now. Letting out a grunt, the beast just stands there looking dumbfounded, clueless about the servant's audacity. He barks an order, telling Meatshield to protect the master while he handles the rest. Pushing forward alongside the giant, the SSR assassin smirks and calls his partner into combat. The two of them split up, surrounding the orc boss from the flanks for a fast, coordinated strike. Prepping his arm, Meatshield starts glowing with a super intense golden light. By clenching his fist, the giant focuses every single drop of mana to unleash that punch. Throwing a devastating straight, he aims right for the middle of the monster's face with full power. The orc boss's eyes pop wide open as he sweats bullets, realizing the strike is no joke, making everything shake. The impact unleashes a golden shockwave that kicks up a massive dust cloud. Right after that, the giant locks the boss down in a massive bear hug, shutting down all of its moves. Delivering a powerful shove, he leaves the monster completely off balance and totally vulnerable. And this is where it gets good. Corsac spawns from the shadows with a twisted smile and triggers his skill, slicing the boss from top to bottom. A wild festival of blue and purple cuts ends the fight for good. With the boss defeated, the system celebrates by dropping a level up, stones, and a platinum badge. Flashing a special notification, the screen shows he scored a bonus for stacking 25 badges. The system offers an encore perk, leaving the kid staring at his own hand, totally confused. Wondering what on earth this encore is, he gets curious if he's about to repeat something. Once the options pop up, he freezes from the hype and already knows exactly which one to pick. Tapping the screen hard, he confirms the choice without even blinking for a single second. Instantly, the system announces an upgraded awakening trait, and a huge smile breaks out on his face. Updating his status, he can now summon 3 servants at the exact same time and celebrates the massive buff. With a third member's silhouette showing up, he gets super anxious for his next gacha pull. Looking over at his servants, he figures now is the perfect time to celebrate the successful run. He asks them with a proud smile, wanting to know what kind of special meal they're creating today. Raising his hand all cocky, Corsac asks for tteokbokki, the spicy rice cakes. Since the kid remembers his servant suffers with spice, he just listens to the SSR brag about being able to tank it now. Seeing the table covered in steaming bowls, the MC congratulates the duo and gives the green light for the feast. As he watches Meat Shield stuff his face, Corsac asks if the dish isn't way too spicy. Staring at the rice cake suspiciously, the hitman sweats with a massive drop on his temple. He gathers his courage, devours the food in record time, and shoots fire straight out of his mouth. Down on the floor in pure agony, Corsac hears the giant suggest swapping him for a new servant. The MC realizes it's time to spill the truth while watching his hitman cry for a bucket of ice. Cutting away, his parents' building shows up at dusk with a beautiful light painting the sky. With premium meat in hand, the kid announces he brought a sweet treat for the family. They all freeze up, asking where the cash came from while his mom demands to see the receipt. Breaking the heavy vibe, his dad says their son just wants to help out, and the mom finally gives in. At dinner, the old man jokes that expensive stuff just tastes better relaxing with the good food. Clearing his throat, the MC asks for everyone's attention and reveals his awakening as a real player. Absolute silence takes over the room, with the family looking at him like he's speaking to aliens. Laughing it off, his dad asks if the kid lost his mind playing PC games and tells him to eat. Since they aren't buying it at all, he calls up the team leader right in front of the whole family. Pulling up to a modern high-rise shortly after, the family just can't believe their eyes. Right outside, the leader confirms the kid is a national asset and a top-tier elite player. Whipping out that black elite card, the MC uses it as the ultimate master key to open every door. "This is where we're living from now on," he announces while stepping into the luxury apartment. Shifting the scene, the massive and imposing Awaken Management Office shows up on screen. By signing that contract, Bonju Hyuk officially locks in his brand new hunter life. He can barely believe it himself, finally standing as a true elite player of South Korea. Reflecting on the irony, he remembers how badly he wanted to dodge this whole world just a while ago. Apologetically, an official offers only a 2 billion won starting salary to the kid. Juhaig insists this was his own choice, even though the suit clearly thinks he's worth way more. Wanting zero spotlight, he refuses to let the world know who the tower's S++ record holder really is. The sheer terror of seeing his family swarmed by paparazzi makes him turn down the extra cash. Asking if his family enjoyed the mansion, the official watches the kid with a super sharp gaze. With true emotion, Juhaig confirms that place is way beyond anything he ever dreamed of. A quick text buzzing in his pocket proves his family is completely over the moon with the new home. Offering up a fully furnished apartment, the official asks if a 2-bedroom setup is enough for him. He looks at the pictures in awe, feeling like this spot is already a luxury penthouse in his eyes. And that's where it gets crazy, cutting straight to the real penthouse, the biggest and most expensive in all of Korea. Inside a massive indoor pool, 2 guests are enjoying that breathtaking luxury lifestyle. A tattooed, muscular brute steps out of the water, making his guests cheer and hype him up. Walking right up to him, one of them calls him Appa with a huge smile on her face. This is Yucheo Mine, the absolute #1 player, inviting his squad to party in the mansion. Clinking their fancy glasses, they toast with a drink that easily costs the same as a brand new car. To spark up a chat, they ask if he's heard about the guy who pulled 25S++ ranks. Without even blinking, Yucheo Min snubs the guy as a low-level rookie and takes a sip. They push back, saying the feat is unheard of, watching him lose his patience in a split second. Getting super aggressive out of nowhere, he pours that expensive drink right over one of their heads. He glares her down, demanding to know what happens if he just stops climbing the 66th floor. By explaining that Korea would be completely wiped off the map, he flexes his massive power and worth. mouth. Smashing a bottle on the table, he furiously doubles down on how much the country needs him. Insulting the crying girl, he claims the tower would collapse because of useless people just like her. Now wearing a robe, he stares down at Seoul and admits his mood is completely ruined. Seeing the new record holder's name everywhere, he is just so sick and tired of hearing about it. The guy buries his face in his hands, looking incredibly frustrated with the whole current situation. Thinking about those massive deals, he focuses on China's offer of 180 billion won. Power and greed completely consume his mind, all while our MC keeps ranking up quietly in the shadows. Playing the martyr, Yu Xiaomin is furious about risking his own neck on the 66th floor. With his anger boiling over, he flirts with the idea of just grabbing citizenship in another country. That floor is a massive problem, serving as the entrance to the undead zone packed with wraiths. Requiring 3 straight days of rest, the mental toll is absolutely brutal after every single attempt. Since he barely made it out alive, he knows that floor is basically an unbreakable wall right now. Muttering to himself, he says, "That's it. I'm seriously looking into moving out of here." His ego runs wild, picturing the chaotic headlines, the crisis, and the massive public panic. At this snail's pace, the countdown for Korea's absolute collapse is officially ticking. Putting himself on a massive pedestal, he smirks and claims the country only breathes because he's there. With an insane laugh, he predicts it'll be way too late once the public finally figures it out. He visualizes the city in ruins, hoping all those ungrateful people end up crawling in pure despair. Meanwhile, back at Juhaik's new spot, he gets 10 boxes of fried chicken delivered to celebrate. Living that elite player life, he's staying in a building designed exclusively for top-tier hunters. The staff handles every single detail, meaning our boy doesn't even have to lift a finger anymore. Packed with perks, the building features a restaurant, a gym, a pool, and even a karaoke room. While chilling in this paradise, Yu-Hawk announces he just successfully cleared the 26th floor. Though that troll quest was annoying, his shadow step skill handled it with 0 effort. Walking and super hyped with the chicken, he calls his servants, Meat Shield and Corsac, for a bite. Both of them are weirdly frozen, their eyes completely glued to something playing on the TV. Ju Ha-yuk shakes them, trying to wake them up for the food, but those guys don't even blink. Finding out why, he spots the two completely mesmerized by a K-pop group on the massive screen. Our MC just shrubs it off, thinking, who am I to judge? That combo is pretty unbeatable. With hunger finally winning the battle, Meat Shield attacks the fried chicken with everything he's got. Setting up the schedule, they decide tomorrow's goal is clearing floors 27 through 29. Corsac asks in pure confusion why they're hitting the brakes right on the 29th floor. Explaining the master plan, Ju-hyuk intends to grind those floors until the random summon unlocks. The hitman loses his mind, getting super hyped over the news of a brand new teammate joining up. While the giant celebrates, Corsac starts guessing who's next, leaving Ju-hyuk pretty anxious about it. Showing up with a package, a government official hands it right to Bong Ju-hyuk at the door. It's a volcanic orc leather armor set specifically crafted to block out freezing temperatures. After thanking him for the gift, Yu-hyuk hears the official double down. "It's our job to take care of you." He promises to put the gear to good use, hearing the guy wish him luck on the next floor. Confirming their entry, the system notification announces they just stepped onto the 27th floor. Since the place is a frozen mountain, this floor is infamous for its brutal sub-zero climates. Zipping up his coat, Yu-hyuk feels the warmth of that gear, knowing it's vital for his survival here. He glances over at Meat Shield, wondering if the shirtless giant isn't freezing to death right now. With his teeth chattering loudly, Corsac swears his necrotic power is keeping his body heat up. Ju-hyuk just thinks to himself, if that giant actually had a brain, he'd be the rarest being alive. Saying he needs to warm up his body, Corsac warns that the fight is kicking off any second now. He launches himself into the snow, screaming for the hunt to finally start right then and there. Slicing through the cold air, a burst of energy clears the snowy trail ahead with pinpoint accuracy. From a safe distance, Ju-hyuk watches the madness, guessing Corsac just entered a frost frenzy. Feeling a little lazy in his cozy coat, the MC knows he still has to pull his own weight in this fight. Right behind a hitman, he and Meat Shield push forward together through the thick snow. Popping up on screen, the notification announces a cleared quest and a guaranteed level up. Ju-hyuk's eyes go wide as he asks, "Already?" While Corsac proudly states he wiped the floor clean. Checking out the loot, he scores a holy sword and adds another platinum badge to his stash. The epic name of the drop makes Ju-hyuk absolutely radiant over his brand new holy weapon. But all that hype goes straight down the drain when he grabs the two-headed weapon and sees it's completely completely rusted. With its absurdly heavy weight, he wonders, how is this piece of junk supposed to be any better? Tossing the blade into his inventory, he figures the scrap metal has to be worth at least a few bucks. A quick look at the stats reveals it only works against the undead and breaks super easily. One of the allies offers an old stone sword for the giant to test out, but the big guy rejects it instantly, claiming real warriors fight with their fists. With that, the item goes to Corsac, who also passes since he already has his own gear, leaving it to our MC, who complains about having to sell such rusty junk. He decides to take a few swings with the old weapon before trashing it. Bond gets ready and says he'll give it a shot, struggling to even hold the blade. Almost falling over, the kid lifts the item using every ounce of strength he has. Right after he completes the downward swing with major difficulty. 2 spins are enough to leave the protagonist completely out of breath. The guy even claps for himself, though he complains about the insane weight of that thing. Corsac then explains that physical skills hit a limit outside the tower. Hearing that this power cap can be removed leaves the master speechless. That would happen if the system crashed, merging the real world and the towers. And that's where it gets crazy. This would be the clear sign of the apocalypse on Earth. Over at the Japanese embassy in Seoul, the situation takes a very different turn. A suit answers the phone and finds out the rabbit is changing its nest. Without hesitation, he guarantees he's gonna handle the escort personally against the wolves. That dude is Tomo, the advisor who already sees a typhoon heading their way. 2 days go by, and Bong is already looking super tense on the 66th floor, but the kid decides to leave this apocalypse talk to the veteran hunters. Focusing on safety, the boy pushes forward toward the 29th floor of the tower. He remembers the previous stage being a total nightmare deep in the trees. Luckily, the raw strength of the giant tank secured the win for the squad. Honestly, if the big guy were a bit smarter, he'd be a high-ranking minion. Corsac shined too, finishing everything off with tons of style and catchy one-liners. Now the challenge looks way worse, forcing the MC to pull out a gas mask. The targets this time are disgusting trolls dripping dangerous slime all over the map. Calling the team, the system quickly confirms the arrival of the allied swordsman. Right after, a giant protector also spawns into the area. With both ready for combat, the huge dude calls himself Rank R, earning some laps. Just like that, the game officially drops the trio into the new contaminated zone of the tower. The current quest is pretty straightforward: defeat 20 of these slimy monsters. All of this with a strict time limit of exactly 4 hours on the clock. Bong even questions their lack of masks, but the summons completely ignore the risk. Skipping the small talk, the squad charges full speed into enemy territory. Since the allies don't care about the slime, the hunt flows at a ridiculous pace. Quickly, the system's green screen confirms the total success of the operation. Making things even better, the level up notification pops up right after. They also score almost 3 kilos of mana stones as a final reward. Check this out: the kid sweeps the floor, earning a double S rank, taking home a highly coveted platinum emblem for his collection as a bonus. At the end of the fight, covered in dirt, the summons already ask to celebrate, but the squad leader just apologizes, leaving the duo completely confused. Dismissing the team with a gesture, the two vanish from the map looking kinda spooked. Bong actually feels bad, but bringing a filthy giant into his new apartment just wasn't happening. The next day, a woman is lifting weights going all out at the guild base. The thud echoes through the whole place when the heavy barbell hits the ground. This beast is Nam Ga Yu, the national top 2, trapped on the 62nd floor. Inside, the local zombies are an absolute nightmare, being brutal and tough threats. For a second, the swordswoman even doubts if this is her ultimate limit, except giving up isn't an option for the elite, so she focuses on trying one more time. Chugging a protein shake in a single gulp, the energy rushes right back into her body. Cheering loud, she flexes her muscles, fully prepped for another round. Suddenly, a weird commotion of people running breaks up her workout routine. An official rushes by at full speed and almost ignores the warrior calling her out. Apologizing for the rush, the woman leaves her friend completely puzzled, until she drops the bomb involving the infamous player Yu Chul-nin. Right as Mov TV, some suit is giving a speech blasting the government. Reporters record everything, as he claims the country has zero future left. No one saw that coming. The guy straight up announces he's going to play for Japan. Our boy watches the whole thing with his jaw on the floor, not believing the audacity. Nobody imagined the top one's betrayal, and the government calls the MC in a hurry. They quickly ask how long it'd take him to reach the 60th floor and help out. Doing the math in his head, he thinks it's possible to make the climb in 37 days. Except prepping for the hard stages would heavily delay the entire schedule. Completely desperate, the official begs for some last-minute assistance. Seeing that crying face, the master tries to look away from the suit. Standing his ground, he refuses to make promises he won't be able to keep later. Right at that moment, Ga-Yun storms into the room wanting to speak directly to management. The girl demands to know if the foreigners are going to lend them light items. With the global shortage going on, the guy lets her know he still doesn't have an answer. She finally spots the MC there, and the kid turns bright red thinking he looks cool. Trying to introduce himself, he stutters super hard in front of the swordswoman. However, he quickly covers it up, saying he just came to trade some old gear. Bung takes the chance and offers the sword to help with the weapon shortage. The boy hands the equipment over to her, swearing it has a holy attribute. Keeping her expectations low, the warrior asks to check the item's stats. Using her special skill, the weapon's info pops right up on her screen. It's the commander's holy sword, packing a cracked bonus against zombies. Man, reality hits her hard and she shakes Bong out of pure desperation. Practically begging, she asks to borrow the item just for this one run. Crying tears of joy, the girl promises to do anything in exchange for the weapon. Hearing that, our guy's mind travels straight to a beautiful wedding. Everything looks pretty real as he pictures the two of them posing happily at the altar. Soon after, the daydream shifts to a honeymoon on a stunning beach. The dreamer even suggests baby names, making her imaginary version die of embarrassment. Laughing in his fantasy, he loves it when she jokes around with the weapon's name, but things really heat up when she pulls him in promising a kiss. The jump scare is massive as the real Ga-Yun screams right in the kid's ear. Back in the real world, the warrior smiles, confirming the holy loan. He closes the deal calmly and the girl thanks him, swearing eternal loyalty. Putting on her armor, the player is about to tear through the 62nd floor for good. Then, Bong wishes her luck, hoping to cash in big on the gear in the future. The system's green warning confirms her triumphant entry into the danger zone. Fast as lightning, level buffs pop on the screen to help with the heavy combat. On the screen, the challenge shows 20 undead to deal with in 15 hours. Failing here means game over, and the kill count is sitting at 0 for now. Staring down the first enemy, the swordswoman feels disgusted by that freak. A buff undead shows up, bringing a menacing aura into the environment. Even being super experienced, she gulps, sensing that bad energy lingering around. Right then, the system warns that the holy sword activated, lighting everything up. Except she finds the glow kinda weak and doubts if it'll actually get the job done. One of the monsters already gets into an attack stance, giving off that heavy aura. Without hesitating, the swordswoman decides testing it out is the only way to know if it works. Dashing full speed at the enemy, she proves she's a true top-tier player. In the blink of an eye, the blade strikes right on the creature's arm. And that's where it gets crazy. The beast's mist starts swallowing the player whole. Feeling her body get heavy, she complains the situation is exactly like before. That force suffocates the warrior, who unleashes her frustration out loud. Soon enough, the system confirms the sword's passive skill kicked in. The zombie starts screaming in agony as a golden flash takes over. Caught completely off guard, she watches the blade's light wipe that shadow away. Confirming the critical hit, the screen shows the enemy's defense is broken. Man, at that exact moment she spots the perfect opening and preps a brutal combo. With zero mercy, a rain of critical strikes wipes the creature off the map. She loses her breath, heavily shocked by how easy that first kill was. Meanwhile, the official keeps checking his watch non-stop back at the base. 2 hours have already passed since she entered the 62nd floor. Making things worse, that's the exact time the player usually takes when she loses. Suddenly, a portal pops up in the hall, bringing the warrior back to reality. The suit even tries to congratulate her, feeling kinda stiff about the situation. But the girl ignores the boss and shoves a potion, making him swear things went bad. Taking a deep breath, she relaxes while the boy focuses on her being in one piece. He quickly asks if the sword helped, begging her to be 100% honest. No one saw that coming. The warrior gives our MC a surprise hug. Super red, the kid goes into shock without knowing where to hide his face. Stuttering a ton, his mind even travels to future parent-teacher conferences. She then drops a huge thank you, swearing the weapon saved her life. With a massive smile, the lady announces her victory on the 62nd floor. Her confidence is through the roof, vowing to reach the 66th floor. Sighing in relief, the suit thinks about the danger if the weapon fell to their rival. The guy is blown away by the kid's mysteries, while the girl takes a step back. Right after she points out the chips on the blade, though the boy was gonna trash it anyway. Without missing a beat, the leader promises to fund the repairs at the player shop. He even tries buying the weapon, but instantly realizes it's a terrible idea. The new offer is to rent the gear, securing a massive fortune for our boy. Having multiple towers around the globe means there's no shortage of rich countries wanting the sword. 10 billion won per loan is the wild price tag floating around the negotiation. Finding the silence weird, the boss actually asks if the offer is too low. But the kid bursts with joy, realizing this rental business is pure gold. As a bonus, the government will handle all the paperwork, sealing the deal on the spot. He He even throws in a huge discount for the national government in exchange for some promo. Getting home, the celebration kicks off with a massive pot full of meat. That smile never leaves his face, stunned by the goldmine he dug out of the trash. With zero budget limits, the giant dish hits the table and the crew digs right in. Crying tears of joy, the giant praises the master's kindness right in front of the food. Master Bung opens up the millionaire banquet, thanking the squad for their win. And that very same night, news of the victory takes over the country along with the sword. 10 days pass by with our boy climbing the lower floors just messing around. After a shower, the hype hits hard since the summon timer finally hit 0. Every single prep step was followed perfectly, even down to a flawless nail trim. A super fresh outfit was also picked out for the big event of the night. Sitting in a meditation pose, his full day of fasting is really taking its toll now. Completely starved, the kid just wants to pull the new minion and go eat dinner. To wrap up the lucky ritual, there's even a bowl of purified water sitting there. Less than 30 minutes remain on the clock, making the vibe wildly tense. Kneeling down, he puts his hands together, praying for that movie-level legendary rank. Right then, Korsak tells him to chill, guaranteeing another weird summon wouldn't pop up again. The boy defends the group's tank right away, scolding the swordsman. So many wins came on the back of that giant, leaving his teammate feeling awkward. Over in the corner, the big guy flashes a mocking smile that almost starts a fight. Ignoring the dynamic duo, the summoner closes his eyes, focused on the key moment. 3, 2, 1, the wait time finally hits 0. With the trigger pulled, the prayers come back full force, begging for a strong minion. And just like that, everything changed. A dense portal explodes in front of him, blowing the kid away. That heavy smoke starts clearing up, revealing the shadow of someone in ancient clothes. Little by little, the details become visible, showing off the rookie's full design. Breaking the silence, the mysterious girl kindly thanks him for the summon. Finally, we get a name, and the summon Yain Dalraid bows before the boss. But the system heavily glitches out, displaying a stat screen full of question marks. The trio stands there frozen, staring at the result, trying to process the situation. Seeing it's a girl, the MC freaks out, having no clue how to react right now. Like magic, the lady pulls out a sword and a rattle, practically buzzing with energy. Firm in her words, she promises to place her very life in the master's hands. He focuses on those weird bells and quickly guesses he summoned the cracked shaman. Then out of nowhere, the vibe shifts, with the woman screaming right in the swordsman's face. Pointing her weapon with zero pity, she questions her new teammates' sideways glances. Accused of being a creep, Korsak tries to explain himself but gets shut down instantly. The threat also reaches Master Bong, promising heavy punishment for him too. Sweating bullets, the kid completely freezes before the girl throws a little side glance. Except she winks at him, changing her tone and giving him a free pass to check out her look. On the flip side, the hype returns full force when checking a minion's elite rank. Our MC even wonders if that weird ritual guaranteed some extra hidden power. Soon the panel unlocks all her details, locking in the divine support class. Reading the shaman's exact profile, the boy already realizes he brought a total pain into the group. Everything around them goes dark again to kick off the classic trip down her memory lane. Dropped into the middle of a bizarre shrine, the boy observes that lost scenery. That noisy rattle shows up in his vision, standing out as a true relic. Being a rebel princess, she traded her crown to play around with magic in the temple. The chaos in the palace blew up when a jealous uncle ran his own brother through with a sword. Consumed by hatred, the princess triggered a forbidden spell to wipe out the traitor. But the dirty old man used innocent people as a meat shield to block the lethal hit. None of that worked against the god's favorite and her massive power level. Screaming without holding back, the girl's fury shattered all the castle's defenses. This time, no human shield could save that scumbag usurper's skin. The only problem is that breaking divine rules comes with a pretty steep price tag. As a result, the magic's rebound decimated the shaman herself on the spot. Snapping back to reality, our protagonist instantly understands the arrogant princess vibe. Full of curiosity, the kid asks which ancient hero built up this empire. Super proudly, she lists the feats of her king, who outclassed everyone back in the day. Hearing that, the kid is left completely speechless. When he confirms Jianhuan was the founding king, his brain just short circuits. Soon enough, he realizes her world is a parallel universe. He remembers Korsak's timeline also split during the Three Kingdoms era. That whole princess story explains a lot, but his stomach growling ruins the vibe. Making some ramen is the easiest fix, and the allies agree on the spot. Dao Rei, on the other hand, says complaining about food goes against basic etiquette. Starving, the swordsman praises the boss's cooking before the dish even even comes out. But the princess flips out of nowhere, calling them out and promising a good beating. The shaman finds it ridiculous to let the master cook alone, leaving the duo super confused. Out of patience, she threatens to drop a heavy curse to teach them some manners. Stricken with fear, the swordsman begs for mercy right away. In the blink of an eye, the big guys rush to man the stove instead of the boss. Their stomachs full, the squad heads toward the tower with a new minion swearing loyalty. Now the challenge is the 30th floor, an extremely dense forest. Seeing Corsac acting so tame makes the kid think the shaman's presence was pure luck. And would you look at that? She's already scolding the ally just for breathing near the master. Hyped up by the free pass, Bong plans to score about 10 kills in this stage. Checking if the team is ready, the summons reinforce that safety is the top priority. Dalray even praises the swordsman's cautious attitude, even while calling the guy trash. Actually, the system demands the elimination of 80 trolls plus a two-headed boss. All of this needs to be wrapped up within a strict 13-hour time limit. Wasting no time, the first mob of monsters already shows up blocking the path. Curious about the rookie, the boy tries to picture what kind of spell she'll cast. Soon enough, the princess summons a very weird floating square object. Man, at that moment he can't believe her weapon is a portable speaker. Feeling shy, she explains she improvised the ritual music since she's without her band. The attack duo doesn't wait around and flies full speed right at the enemies. Right then, the shaman just hits play on the device. That wild beat starts echoing through the whole stage, catching everyone off guard. Even the monsters back away scared by that loud music blasting in the middle of the forest, sparking the ritual. She calls down divine protection for the kid and drives away evil spirits. The speaker reacts to the spell, blasting a surreal wave of energy through the air. This magical force expands like a hurricane, covering the entire battlefield. Bathed in that power, the MC keeps trying to figure out what kind of craziness this is. Shortly after, he notices the team's tank looking huge and overflowing with raw strength. With skin like steel, the big guy blocks the hits as if they were nothing. Just one punch to the ground was enough to send the whole pack of trolls flying. Corsac also turns into lightning, slicing everything in the blink of an eye and loving the buff. Seeing that, our boy smiles, feeling his own reflexes pushed to the max. The shaman doesn't just drop heavy curses, she delivers perfect support for the squad. It doesn't stop there. The enemies get sluggish with the spells running at the same time. Full of confidence, the kid decides he's finally gonna put in work on the front lines. Suddenly, right as he charges, a hand pulls his clothes back with serious force. It was the princess demanding the boss sit back and watch the show from afar. The boy tries to argue he needs to fight, but she thinks him getting his hands dirty is a crime. Watching his points go down the drain, he practically cries, begging for at least one kill. Too late, the system screen already confirms the floor is fully cleared. The 30th level stage stamps the total success seal on the quest screen. On top of that, the level up notification pops up as a consolation prize. Frustrated, the kid flips out over getting 0 points again, ignoring the shaman calling him. When he finally looks at the princess, he notices a pretty worrying detail. The tough girl is crying her eyes out with a red face and pure panic in her eyes. Having no clue what's going on, he blames a conflict in the system rules for that massive reaction. In tears, she confesses her deep fear of losing the only person who cares about her. She's terrified of ending up all alone again, and just like that, everything changed for the summoner. Right then, reality hits, and he feels like an idiot for not catching on sooner. The family trauma weighed heavily, destroying the priestess's mind with that betrayal. All that was left in the girl's head was isolation, pure panic, and a lot of sadness. Thinking about it, the summons aren't soulless tools. They have real feelings. That whole bossy attitude was just a massive shield to hide her emotional scars. Very gently, the kid promises to focus on safety and calms his ally's heart. Out of nowhere, the big guys pop up celebrating, though they find it weird the master sat this one out. Seeing the princess cry, the swordsman quickly accuses the boss of being an insensitive jerk. But the princess quickly kills the vibe, shooing the rookie away for showing up covered in blood. Out of patience, she sends the swordsman running by shaking those heavy bells. Finally, the system's green screen preps the squad's triumphant return home. Stepping into the real world, Bong thanks the crew and dismisses everyone for some rest. However, an unseen screen notifies him about the reward of 30 platinum emblems. With a massive smile, the kid gets super hyped for the system's prize. It's a cooldown reset ticket dropped right into his inventory. The coveted blue card marked with an hourglass leaves the summoner jaw-dropped. This paper-shaped miracle lets him zero out a summon's wait time on the spot. Stashing it in his bag, the kid thinks it's a waste to use it when his squad is already stacked. He even laughs to himself, doubting he'll ever struggle enough to burn this item. Meanwhile, the beast Namgao-un is completely steamrolling the 63rd floor. TVs all over the country broadcast the brutal footage of that player in combat. Detailed reports show how the Holy Sword shut down the monster's advantage for good. During an interview, they pressed the government about the threat of that guy, Yu Chil-min, playing for Japan. Full of confidence, the official leader swears they'll sweep the 66th floor in less than a month. To top it off, the country announces the global rental of the sword, banning access for their rival. Watching this, that scumbag Chil-min loses it, smashing his whole screen out of pure hatred. The guy swears he'd clear the tower easily if the government had just handed him that weapon. Right in the middle of his breakdown, a Japanese official knocks on the door, calling the guy by his local name. The suit bursts into the room, ignoring the mess and cutting off the traitor's piece. Heavy pressure is on to clear the 57th floor once and for all. Since Japan got blocked from the sword, the government wants to lock down that 10th sector ASAP. Feeling salty, the former #1 promises to clear the stage the very next day to please the bosses. All of this needs to happen on a live stream to shut the critics up. Promising a new TV, the official dips and leaves the mercenary in silence. Seething with anger, the traitor boils with rage at the lucky dude who found that holy item. Through his phone, he's forced to swallow the crushing victories of his old country. The entire internet is trying to figure out who the real millionaire behind the rental is. Reading the trolls roasting the scumbag, Master Bong gets super proud of his achievements. He even fakes some modesty in front of the summons who don't understand a thing. Right at the moment, the doorbell ringing signals that the real reward of the day just arrived. A poor delivery guy tries to help out with the mountain of 10 giant tubs of luxury ice cream, bringing it all into the living room. The most expensive flavors on the market make up a beautiful sweet feast. Memories of his broke days make the flex of buying all this feel surreal. With almost $1 billion in his account, he knows peak wealth is knocking at his door. Noticing the shaman's new rule, the boss takes the first spoonful to free up the team. The big guy cries tears of joy over the sweet treat, earning a scolding for his complete lack of manners. Acting all stuck up, the princess grabs her little spoon, ready to teach the duo a lesson in etiquette. She swears up and down that keeping your composure is the bare minimum in any situation. But Corsac can barely stand the lecture and asks for a timeout to avoid getting indigestion. Right then, the girl brings the dessert to her mouth and tastes the delicacy. Man, at that moment her whole tough act drops and the wonderful flavor leaves the lady speechless. Laughing at her face, the ally points out the broken etiquette, only to get shut down fast. That lame excuse about the taste being better than the palace gets a good laugh out of the crew. Instantly spotting the shaman's weak spot, Bong promises to buy way more ice cream in the future. As a thank you, she offers a luck spell and asks if something is bothering the boss. The kid wastes zero time and spills everything about Yu Chil-min's dirty betrayal. Boiling with rage, the princess finds it ridiculous for someone with so much power to abandon their nation. Without forgiving his flaws, she promises the scumbag is going to pay a steep price for his cowardice. Soon enough, the shaman asks for an item belonging to the traitor, swearing that letting the guy go unpunished is a crime. Worried, the boy denies it right away to prevent his ally from suffering the magic tree wound. Corsac acts super goofy, praising the master's kindness, earning himself a kiss-up nickname. Despite the vibe, the priestess guarantees this current spell isn't lethal at all. She changes her tone and reveals she's going to use a dangerous ritual focused on karma. Feeling confused, the kid asks for more details about this weird magic. The rule is simple. The target suffers the direct consequences of their own past actions. Knowing there's no rebound for the shaman, the boss breathes a sigh of relief with the plan. With the green light given, the crew focuses on prepping the ground to let the punishment loose. Out of nowhere, the swordsman storms into the room announcing the success of a secret mission. Flashing a cocky smile, he holds up that traitor's old remote control. Impressed, the MC praises the flawless stealth work of his elite minion. Breaking into the abandoned house was a breeze thanks to the data leaked by the government. Placing the object in the center, the princess pulls out a dagger to start the terror. Showing no mercy, she slices her own finger, instantly scaring the kid. Drops of blood fall onto the remote while a sinister prayer calls upon the ancient gods. It demands that the traitor receives the exact pain he spread across the world. Those heavy words ask for his mountain of sins to crash down all at once. Reacting to the magic, the plastic device levitates, surrounded by a menacing energy. Right then, the universe's final judgment blows up the room in a wild red flash. This chaotic force turns into a cracked sphere loaded with pure evil energy. From the ceiling, a massive block drops and slams into the floor, shaking the whole apartment. Keeping it classy, the princess wraps up the ceremony, leaving fate in divine hands. Far away, a Japanese TV broadcast announces the arrival of their greatest hero. And that's where it gets crazy. If the karma weighs heavy, the traitor's downfall will be utter destruction. In front of the cameras, the heavy glazing flows freely for the strongest man on the island. Dripping with arrogance, Ryu thanks the crowd with that mocking little smile. The reporter quickly asks about his wild plan to raid the 57th floor today. Cynical to the bone, the trash player swears he just wants to bring back the people's lost hope. Quickly, the host begs him to be careful to avoid another national tragedy. But the former Korean brushes off the warning, bragging about his current level 66 status. Raising his hand to the camera, he promises to beat the map in just 5 short hours. The crowd goes wild over the guarantee of a new crazy record live on air. Overflowing with magical power, the showman turns his back and heads straight for the portal. Seconds later, the system makes his entry into the dreaded 57th floor official. All the level difference buffs kick in to make the guy's mission way easier. The teleport drops the warrior into a canyon infested with flying beasts circling around. Nostalgic about the past, the invader admires the view, swearing this hunt is gonna be a breeze. Soon enough, the objective flashes on the screen demanding 15 Wyvern-class dragons be taken down. To top it off, the time limit is 14 hours with the risk of permadeath ruling the skies. Those colossal reptiles strike terror even into giant ogres. Even so, the Japanese player's blind confidence completely ignores the zone's danger. Out of nowhere, a chill down his spine shatters all that cockiness in the blink of an eye. Spooked for no reason, he suddenly feels a bad energy weighing heavily on his body. Ignoring the red flag, the guy spawns his main weapon, wanting to wrap up the show. The veteran strat is to focus on one-on-ones, avoiding becoming bait for a whole pack. Swiftly, a blast of magic energy flies forward, tearing through the canyon winds. Locking onto an isolated target, the clean shot pierces the monster's leg without mercy. With the beast charging in, a rain of arrows shreds the enemy mid-air. His talent zeroes out any close combat risks when it's time to hunt. He doesn't miss a beat and sends another brutal shot toward the next victim. No one saw that coming. The attack bounces off the target and hits another dragon. Feeling outraged, the warrior pulls his blade and shield, thinking that was bizarre. 2 angry beasts dive down, forcing a heavy close-quarters fight. Using all his agility, a flawless strike slices the first giant lizard. That frustrating clash proves the guy's luck is in the trash without a single critical hit. Pushed to the edge, the arrogant dude cocks his crossbow, focusing hard so he won't miss again. The veteran's absolute focus tries to make up for that unexplained streak of bad luck. But out of nowhere, a tingle in his nose breaks the mercenary's aggressive stance. Sneezing like crazy, his finger slips on the trigger, firing off a stray shot. Check this out. The arrow wakes up an entire flock that swarms the invader. 3 bloodthirsty dragons form a wall that's impossible to tank alone. Running away would stain his rep on national TV, forcing the guy to fight. Soon the monsters take a breath together and unleash a fatal inferno of flames. Burned alive, he gets thrown far away, not understanding that crazy sync from the beasts. In pure desperation, his only way out is to burn all his ultimate skills right on the ground. A wave of destructive power bursts through the air, bringing the trio down with a roar. Knocked down and out of breath, the traitor survives, surrounded by smoking corpses. Trying to look on the bright side, that ridiculous bad luck actually sped up the day's hunt. That single limping dragon only needed a scratch to kiss the floor. Thinking he's gonna look cool, his rotten mind already pictures tomorrow's magazine covers. Ignoring the enemy fire, the mercenary mocks the ridiculous sluggishness of the attack. His perfect instincts prep a clean counterattack to wrap up the show. Man, at that moment, a weird crunch under his boot freezes the guy's blood. Looking down at the ground, the nightmare takes shape, a whole nest crushed by his foot. Completely stunned, the former #1 can't process that cosmic bad luck. The high-pitched cries of the hatchlings echo, drawing attention in the worst way possible. By all logic, dragons of his class would never make nests on a dirty floor like that. Even worse is crushing the thing at the exact second a new brood is hatching. Coupling that with the lack of critical damage, the loser's rage explodes into swearing. Drawn in by the screaming, a colossal cloud of dragons dives down, hunting for the culprit. Terror takes over his mind, making him choose running away over getting humiliated live in the tower. Unable to handle the pressure, his SOS call is validated and his forfeit becomes official. A giant stamp ruins the coward's screen, exposing his massive failure. Soon the background melts away, kicking the clown player right out of the hunting map. On the TV broadcast, the Japanese stars are still singing, swearing the coward is gonna win. No one saw that coming. A portal spits Ryu face first onto the live stage. Humiliated to the core, the mercenary chubs a potion while the host is left speechless. Trying to hide the awkwardness, the presenter asked for a round of applause for the great hero's return. The reporter even asks about the results, but the former top one walks right past and ignores everyone. Boiling with rage, the traitor screams that it's all a setup, scaring the whole crowd. Soon the news blasts the guy, calling him a fraud and tanking the government's morale. 2 days go by with another humiliating fail, leaving the scumbag locked up and furious. On the internet, people roast the rival while Korea celebrates another max rank. A leaked photo shows the kid and his minions surrounded by fallen minotaurs on the ground. And Gae-eun also becomes a legend by beating the 64th floor in just 3 short hours. Over in the United States, the foreign government discusses the millionaire rental of that sword. Turns out, a famous player over there is dying to test out the world's only divine item. Out of options, the big boss authorizes the paperwork to formalize the weapon rental request. Right then, an official warns that Japan just called begging for help. They're pleading for a borrowed foreign player to cover up the traitor's failure. The suit accepts the deal on the spot, leaving his team confused by the demands. Flashing a sinister smile, the boss drops a flawless plan to profit from the chaos. Their order is to stall the rival to the absolute limit and charge a fortune to fund the new rental. Back home, the summoner watches the former number one's embarrassments on TV, deeply stunned. He realizes karma hit hard, and the shaman warns the jinx lasts until his debt hits 0. Deep down, the kid thinks it's fair since the guy is just reaping the evil he spread. But enough gossip. Today is the sacred day to raid the 32nd floor of the map. The whole troop of summons is already lined up and eager to start to beat down. Before opening the portal, Bone asks for a quick private word with the tough princess. Holding the highly coveted ice cream, he pulls a shocked face from the girl instantly. Both big guys smell the sweets and quickly grumble wanting a piece too. Man, the master promises snacks for later, yet the duo still cries out of pure drama. Only the promise of a meat banquet makes the crying stop and sends the goofballs away happy. Acting all soft, the shaman thanks him for his kindness while reaching out to grab the dessert. And that's where it gets crazy. The kid pulls the sweet away and demands she let him get 5 kills. Right away, the mask drops and she shakes with rage, trying to bargain for just a single target. Negotiating hard, our MC closes the deal at 3 kills and shuts the girl up. With everything ready, the screen warning confirms the hunt for 20 buff minotaurs today. This specific area of the tower is the official home of these scary and colossal beasts. The danger is real when these monsters easily pass 6 meters tall on the map. Even the bravest tremble clashing head-on with these brutal 4-meter beasts. Gripping his staff, the boy swears he won't chicken out after standing up to the princess. The first monster already lets out that roar, and the shaman pulls her sharp blade without blinking. Without wasting time, the speaker drops the buffs on the squad and stops the herd in its tracks. Soon the team's tank wipes the area clean, crushing the weaker enemies along the way. Korsak stays in the back too, ready to tear apart anyone who crosses the line. Seeing the squad shine, our MC flashes a little smile of pure confidence. Honestly, it'd be shameful to throw the mission with such ridiculously cracked allies. At that moment, a furious minotaur locks onto the master and charges with unreal aggression, proving he isn't dead weight. The kid runs right at the beast without backing down. He pulls the trigger on the secret weapon and activates the staff's third form, the lightning. The strike is a fatal electric shot, destroying everything at terrifying speed. For the first time, the boy feels the kickback of energy tearing through his own veins. Panting hard, he secures his 3 promised kills before the squad obliterates the rest. And to wrap up the day perfectly, the system confirms another crushing double S-ray. To top it off, the boy even takes home a platinum emblem. The next day, over at the official Awaken headquarters in the city, warrior Gae-eun receives all the praise for her massive effort. Feeling tired, she admits the 65th floor was a real tough nut to crack. But the swordswoman quickly lets them know she didn't fail, flashing a winning smile. Without missing a beat, she confirms the raid on the 66th floor in 3 days. The government pushed this mission forward to secure peace after the traitor's embarrassment. Meanwhile, a politician bets the MC will reach the 60s floors in no time. Worried about the holy weapon, the coworker gets shot down instantly by the suit. He shows total confidence, claiming the kid's talent is unreal. After all, the boy already secured 32 double S clears in the system. Man, right then the suit notices the number is already outdated. The screen glows, announcing another perfect success on the 33rd floor. Stunned, the official confirms the new crazy record right in front of them. This just proves once and for all that our protagonist plays in a whole different league. Going back to the boy, he holds a bizarre mental distortion amulet. The shaman explains the item erases their identity in the middle of normal people. Super hyped, he stashes the relic to go hang out with the squad outside. At that moment, his phone pings notifying him of the millionaire deposit for the sword rental. Dreaming of peak wealth, the kid decides to fund a massive feast for the crew. Out on the street, the weird quartet strolls around, casually enjoying their day off. A pedestrian stares at the squad, making the kid tense up about the big guy. But the lady just flashes a smile and calls the brute cute. Having no clue, he notices people are seeing a teddy bear right there. This crazy magic confirms the amulet's effect is truly flawless. Breathing a sigh of relief, the summoner announces tonight's dinner is all-you-can-eat meat for everyone. At the restaurant, the crew devours everything with zero pity for the master's wallet. Skipping to the next day, a food hangover vibe takes over the group. The summons are at full power, but the boy almost cries remembering the bill. 12 million went down the drain, so he tells everyone to grind hard to make up for it. Soon the screen warns about the raid on the 34th floor of the infamous tower. Today's quest demands a taking down of 20 stage 4 minotaurs. Out of nowhere, a colossal hoof shakes the ground right in front of the whole squad. This monster is over 6 meters tall and gives off a heavy crushing presence. Sweating bullets, the kid gulps hard, staring down that absolute nightmare. His plan is to focus damage on the beast's legs to try and turn the tide on the ground. But Korsak notices the disadvantage and negotiates to wipe out almost everything in exchange for just one target. Without stalling, the boss accepts the offer for help on the spot. Right then, the swordsman cashes in his favor with the giant for the snack and tells him to cross his hands. Catching on to the play, Bon thinks using the big guy as a living trampoline is genius. Swiftly, he dashes full speed toward the base set up by his giant teammate. The jump lands right in the gigantic palm that serves as a perfect launch pad. No one saw that coming. The insane boost launches the kid high into the air, flying up fast. Confusion hits when he looks down at his squad looking like ants below. In total despair, he screams, realizing his ascent just won't slow down. The reality hits at the peak of the jump that the free fall is gonna hurt. Gravity collects its toll, and the crazy descent kicks off in the blink of an eye. Freaking out, the summoner looks for a way out as the ground gets closer. And just like that, everything changed. His memory finally unlocks mid-air control. He remembers exactly that bizarre feeling of having rockets on the soles of his shoes. Focusing his mind, a surreal energy starts gathering at the kid's feet. That power bursts, cutting off the impact and making our protagonist levitate safely. The panel locks in the secret mastery called Shadow Walker right in his face. Laughing for no reason, he celebrates the broken ability to walk freely through the air now, especially with your like on the video for the next part.